Hello everyone and welcome to Leaderville Oval for our Waffle live stream, courtesy of the West Coast Eagles. And thanks to Hungry Jacks, it is a fine night. It is East Perth and West Coast, the first time these two teams have met with the non-alignment disbanded. And it is a beautiful night. Stephen Bandy, I can tell you that it is a little nippy, not a huge crowd, but the condition of the ground, no wind to worry, and it looks like the worst of the weather has passed us by. It's a very good evening. Looking forward to this contest. 6th plays 9th.
Good evening, everybody. Pleasure to be alongside you here today, or tonight, Tim. And yeah, the rain did fall down here in pretty heavy fashion up until midday in Perth for those listening outside of the state. And I think some of the coaches on both sides of the fence were worried that it might not clear up in time, but nothing to worry about in the end. This is a pristine night, and I dare say you and I will be cuddling by the fourth quarter. It is a bit nippy.
It is a bit, and we're looking forward to bringing you this contest. Of course, this is coming after the state bye. Of course, South Australia beating Western Australia. But the West Coast Eagles, well, they've held over a couple of their emergencies for tomorrow night's clash against Melbourne. But we can tell you that Jake Waterman, who was omitted for Willie Rioli, is playing tonight. And that team you see right there on your screen, East Perth, they do not have Sharad Wellingham, who, of course, was a wonderful representative for the West Coast Eagles over his journey. He's got a bit of an injury and is a withdrawal from the East Perth team, who are chasing their second win of the season. Let's take a look at their lineups and let's go through these, Steve Bandy. And this is the West Coast team for round 6.
Yeah, have a look here. Not a bad back line there. Very young. We've got young Daniel Akers, of course, brother of Blake, St Kilda forward. Riak Edwards, Mutimer. Good to see him back into the team. Joshy Rotham and Fisher. Have a look at the centre line. O'Neill, Allen, Josh Smith, the ex-Collingwood product. Cameron returning from his wrist injury, which is excellent news. Rebillard Foley, Bailey Williams in the forward pocket alongside the skipper Fraser McInnes and Jakey Waterman, the club leading goal kicker at this point in time. Going to the ruck, Keegan Brooksby, Ainsworth, Archie, and the interchange, Hug, Gray returning, of course, and Kalazic, I think you would pronounce it, in for his debut for the West Coast Eagles team. And, of course, Nick Reed, the North Beach product.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. So there is the West Coast Eagles warming up. They are, at the moment, at the northern end of the ground. Of course, coached by Luke Webster, and East Perth coached by Jeremy Barnard. Looking forward to this contest, and thanks for watching. You can be either watching and tuning in through our Facebook stream or YouTube, but I know there's already well over 500 people who are watching the West Coast Eagles on Thursday night waffle football ahead of the big game tomorrow night against Melbourne at Optus. Of course, thanks to Hungry Jacks, players going into position. Who are some of the East Perth players that we should be looking out for? Of course, Alengo's exciting, and the mail is very, very strong about Ajang as well. I know there's a lot of people looking at him as a prospective an AFL recruit, maybe even in the mid-season.
Well, Angus Scott's been in good touch in their midfield from the Casey Demons. I think you've got to look at Pat McGinnity, who is an absolute workhorse in the middle of the ground, always dangerous. But no Jackson Ramsey as well for East Perth, yes, which is a massive plus. He was, of course, the only state representative to be chosen from the East Perth lineup. And without him and Sharad Wellingham, tremendous opportunity to get the W here this evening, Tim.
No doubt about that. They are short price favourites to win this game, the West Coast Eagles. There is Jake Waterman and the big man Fraser McInnes, the skipper. And young Cameron, of course, as we mentioned, back in the lineup. Now, we've had a lot of disputes pre-game. Is it Houghton? Is it Horton? We're going to give it a bit of both. And is it Hill or Hilly? We get told it depends on who you speak to, but we are going to call it Houghton.
I don't even think they know, Tim, to be perfectly honest.
Michelle Cowan, of course, involved with the West Coast Eagles women's team. She coached Gemma Houghton, Joel's sister at Fremantle, and went by the name of Howe. And we've spoken to the East Perth Football Club, and it's Shane Hill, but he's got an E on the end of it, so it could be Hilly. Here's the first quarter action, thanks to Hungry Jacks. Here's your commentator, Stephen Bandy.
Round 6, Leaderville Oval in the WAFL competition as it gets underway. Matty Allen, first hands to it, claimed immediately by Ajang, and the umpire is pretty hot on the whistle there, says holding the pill, and East Perth are away. Mackenzie has it. Broadcast side wing, wants to duck back inside to Kerr with the long sleeves. Don't blame him. Pretty chilly out there. Measured kick to centre half forward, and Scott, prolific ball winner. He drives this one deep. Inside the 50, pack forms. Ball at ground level. Dobson's claimed, held on to a bit long. Umpire has spotted it, and that's going to be the opening shot for East Perth inside the opening minute, Tim.
Three umpires are somewhat inexperienced, of course, Snadden, Johannesson and Jones. But yes, young Dobson, of course, he's a fine product and he's a tough in and under footballer, very good both sides, and probably needs to work a little bit harder on his defensive set, but here he is in the forward 50. Any score would put East Perth in front inside the first minute.
Not too much of an angle to speak of for Michael Dobson. Can he get his team off to the perfect start? He has. Didn't deviate from the line. And East Perth with a dream start here at Leederville Oval. They move one straight 6. West Coast yet to get it inside their forward half. Yeah,
Mitchell Dobson, he's a product, of course, 188 centimetres. And as I mentioned, he's very good on both sides of his body. Not too sure. He certainly milked that for what it was worth, that to lingering tackles. We take a look at the replay of the set shot, and that's dime a dozen stuff, and the goal umpire didn't have to move. That's a good start for East Perth. I'm just having a look at some of the matchups and some of the positions. Of course, Xavier O'Neill is out on this side wing on Shaquille McKenzie, who's a well-travelled young footballer, but a very talented footballer. That'll be a good matchup. They're lining up on the wing.
The umpire will start proceedings yet again. In the centre, Brooksby v. Ajang. Brooksby takes the body, does it effectively. Archie bundles in fact, took the body illegally, says the umpire, and again, Ajang wants to hand off. East Perth on the attack yet again. Ball sits up on the forward flank. Hilly can't handle it. West Coast have the numbers. O'Neill, little dinky kick round the corner, too much on it. Cameron collects. West Coast a chance, bomb long. One-on-one contest, Bailey Williams the front position. And the umpire's paid a free kick again, yes. A chance for West Coast first forward 50 entry.
Too high in that contest.
Williams just opts for the hot spot, top of the goal square. McInnes got 2 to beat, almost took it in. And in the end, Rudrum cleans up for the Royals. He finds McKenzie on the back flank, has a runner moving out to the wing. This is Blee. East Perth content with a bit of possession football here in the early going. Getting the first would have been, or an excellent start would have been a primary objective. Goes long down the line. Orlango, the ex-West Coast product, takes an easy, uncontested grab in the end. As I said, just the 1 year on the West Coast list, crippled through injury. That's one of the worst kicks I've ever seen. In fact, what's the umpire paid here? Because he's got him right out of jail. I can't wait to see a replay of this one, Tim, because it was going to go down as the worst possession I've seen in the WAFL.
I think he actually pulled the kick because here it is here in replay. The umpire thought he was going to signal a 50-metre penalty, but all he was doing was telling Keegan Brooksby to come back a yard or 2. So we found our way here. We found our mojo. 3.5 minutes gone first quarter.
Kick to the wing, ill-directed. Brady Gray steps in for the intercept. Got it on the wing for West Coast. Has a man inboard. This is Archie. Wants to bang it long, give Fraser McInnes every opportunity. He sets himself, great body position, can't bring it in. Ball at ground level, and East Perth content to hold it up.
Seen a couple of kicks now, long and quick inside 50. It looks like it seems to be the MO of West Coast at the moment. Get it in quick, try and isolate and turn the defence around, make it a one-on-one contest.
McInnes, almost uncontested, but Ajang comes in for a late ruck knock. Ball spills out of play.
Keegan Brooksby, a kick behind play.
In fact, there's a free kick here, Tim.
There is, and it's going to go to Archie. Not too sure what those foot might have been out of bounds on the full. It'll be interesting to see. Might have been a toe poke there. We saw Archie down at Freo a couple of weeks ago with that huge mark. This could be a good goal.
Wants to set it up. Plays the team percentage game. It's drifted to the near side. And West Coast are on the board. Minor score. 1 straight. East Perth leads 1 behind West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that was the right kick. It was sort of a half-half kick. It was either needed to be top of the square or 20 metres out or have a genuine crack at it. It was a shallow entry.
Tommy Gorder opts the short pass. Hits Cahill effectively. Of course, Gorder, also the 1 year on the West Coast Eagles list, chose to remain with his East Perth Waffle Aligned club. Cahill down the line, well read by Brady Gray. In fact, he ends up with it. Short little dinky kick, can't hit the target. Rudrum attacks it. Nothing there for him. Umpire's blown the whistle. It's going the way of the Royals. Back to Rudrum.
That's against Jake Waterman.
Umpire signals play on. That was pretty quick. Drives it down the line. Ainsworth, good fist on the play. Ball out the back. Rotham runs out of room. We'll have another throw in on the outer side wing.
Getting plenty of the ball here, and they've locked it in their forward half, West Coast. They've just got to manage their way through. East Perth getting numbers behind the ball and inside that defensive 50 now. They've seemed to have worked out the quick entry from West Coast, so they've just got to take their time here, West Coast, and think their way through it.
Shocking throw in, but it favours Brooksby. Gray able to hack a kick forward, bounces at the foot of Waterman. to Rebillard, back to Waterman, has a runner in grey. Will it sit for him? He does, got a few to beat. Gives to Archie, running out of room, the West Coast Eagles. Bit of overuse of the handball. And East Perth will clear the ball. They go down the wing. Running out of room there is Houghton. Rotham wearing him closely. Another throw-in.
We're going to go with Houghton. We're going to go with Houghton. He was formerly on the Fremantle Dockers list and from Perth Football Club. And Brett Peake is watching our Facebook. Former Saint and Fremantle Dockers still playing in the bush.
Unsure what the kick was for. Deliberate perhaps, but Rotham chooses the skipper as his target. Can't take it, but West Coast have the numbers. Foley, little left foot pass in the direction of Williams. Can't take it. The big fella collects, shrugs the tackle, but falls over. Gives to Foley, left foot. It's a hurried kick, and it's ill-directed. It's out of the full. In fact, is the umpire coming in for another kick? No, it's remaining.
Yeah, I think he was just intimating to the East Perth player who pushed Bailey Williams to the ground and sort of let him know about it, two behind the play, just to maybe pull back on the behind the play push and shove, not needed.
You can say over signalling, Tim. They can't hear you from here. East Perth want to attack down the guts. Orlango's the target. Wants to move it quickly, lowers the eyes, makes Mackenzie work, but it works okay. Mackenzie to a Jang, and East Perth gaining a bit of possession football here on the wing. Not too many loose options in front of him. The switch is on, but Ajang wants to launch long down the line. Target in Horton, can't take it on the second attempt. Ainsworth finds Brooksby. West Coast are away here. They got some numbers. Hug feeds the handball out. Nick Reed can't collect at ground level. He's well chased and tackled down. East Perth with the numbers should prevail. Wilcox can't.
That's good, Reed.
Look at the three tacklers there for the Royals providing pressure. That's good stuff. And they hold it up. We'll have a ball up about 60 metres out from the West Coast Eagles goal.
Yeah, good. You called it right. The numbers were 4-2 in favour of East Perth, who didn't work it out at all well, but that was well done by Nick Reed. He's a North Beach amateur who we saw a couple of weeks ago down at Freo Oval, and he had plenty of opportunities to score. He finds the footy easily at this level.
I knew you just look for a way to bring my North Beach down there, Tim. You just want to say he kicked 0 goals forward, just get it out of the system.
Yeah, his kicking wasn't all that flash, but he found the footy, and that's what I liked about him.
I think he'd be happy with that. And I think North Beach would be flat that they don't have him this weekend.
Kalazic has just checked in, and former Shark, is he not?
He is, and Perth Demon. The umpire's found a free kick. It's going... I don't even think the umpire knows who it's going. Does he want to re-throw in?
Yeah, he does.
That's a shocker from both sides of the ground,
yeah,
Tim.
Well, I'm confused as to where the players are standing, and it was almost like the field umpire was telling the players where to stand, which is an interesting call. That's a good throw in that one.
Front position, Brooksby taps it down, but it's all East Perth. Good tackle there from O'Neill. Wraps up Lee. Umpire says holding the footy. Well called there, Tim.
It was a good tackle, wasn't it?
Umpire, 50-metre penalty. Wouldn't mind seeing that. Is that Ajang encroaching into the restricted area?
Exactly what it is. It certainly was, and it's an interesting call by the umpire as we get dragged back. So this really should be a lay down, and West Coast should take the lead. But that came about from a genuine, strong, hard, fierce tackle, and the aided by the 50-metre penalty. So this shouldn't be a problem for the West Coast Eagles.
Seemingly a gift here for young Xavier O'Neill. Picked 28 in the 2018 draft. West Coast top pick of that draft. And a chance to put West Coast ahead for the first time in this contest. The young Victorian lines up, makes no mistake. West Coast are on the board. 1 goal, 1-7, just the 1-point lead thus far against East Perth. 1 goal straight.
Yep, good start by East Perth, and after East Perth got that by West Coast, and here it is here. So there's the free kick for holding.
So he's gone through.
But that is not 50 metres. Where's he meant to go? I mean, clearly he was in the play. That is not 50 metres in the true sense of the word. I mean, the bloke's allowed to get out of the area. I think that's a tough call against East Perth. As Jake Waterman checks in, just repeating the news, Jake Waterman out of the main team, of course, the AFL team for tomorrow night against Melbourne, replaced by Willie Rioli, which is good news, and Jake Waterman is straight into action, and he's camped himself inside the forward 50.
He'd be one of those Dane Rampy supporters backing him up the post, mate. Rule's a rule. He's ran through the mark, 50 metres every day of the week. Go Xavier O'Neill, go. Keegan Brooksby going to have his work cut out for him today. Jane got quite a leap on him, this young man. Good bounce there from the umpire. Brooksby wins out, contradicts me. Good fist forward. Reed loses his footing, pack forms, and the umpire should collect. He's holding the whistle and holding the ball, the call. So he deemed that Nick Reed's jumped all over that. And Will McGuinness will take the kick for the Royals. The ex-West Coast product wants to go wide on this occasion. Good spoil there from young Curnow. Ball at ground level. In the end, West Coast prevail. Mutimer, little kick over the top. Good work there from Curnow, but he's dispossessed by McGuinness. Umpire says play on, and Foley escorts his man out of play.
Graham O'Day is watching from his donga in Karratha. Loves his Eagles, and he's loving the stream live. So good on you, Graham. Thanks for watching. You were watching the West Coast Eagles live stream of Waffle commentary. Tim Gossage and Steve Bandy with you. West Coast up by a point. We're midway through first term.
Archie collects, taps to himself, runs out of room. The umpire will throw it in once again.
Had 37 disposals in the game against Saframel a couple of weeks ago. Earned himself a spot on the plane to the St Kilda game. Didn't get a game. Come back here, and if he can produce that 25 to 30 possessions again, he'll be putting pressure on that West Coast Eagles senior team.
100%. The umpire to restart things. Brooksby hits the deck. Umpire says play on. A chance now. Loose man in the middle. It is Foley. It'll give to Mutimer. Hurriedly on the boot. Inside 50. Rudrum has the run at it. Ball's on the deck. Rebillard, what can he do? Handball inside. Little left foot snap. It's going to fall at the feet of Waterman. In fact, it goes through them all. And a win for the East Perth defence, escorting it over the boundary.
Yeah, they're doing plenty of the forward 50 work here, the West Coast Eagles, and albeit they only lead by a point, the floodgates aren't far away from breaking open early in this game already, because East Perth's defence and their midfield are under the pump. West Coast just need to be a little bit cleaner.
Dangerous territory here for East Perth as McInnes takes front position in this ruck contest. Ball at ground level. Smith is hovering. McInnes gathers, looking for Archie. Bit scrappy here. Plenty of numbers around the footy. The umpire says, give it to me. We'll ball it up again.
Going to be interesting to see how Brady Gray goes. There's a lot of clubs working around whether he should be earning another spot into the AFL, so he could be one that's on the radar of many drafting groups from around the competition.
Magro sharks the hit out. Umpire another free kick. This is in fact the only way East Perth are working the ball inside their forward half at the moment with the assist of the umpire, but they'll play it. Dobson front position. Good spoil from Riak. Oh, hard contest there from Acres. East Perth prevail. Hilly, if it sits, runs in 35 metres. Got acres of room, and he makes no mistake. East Perth with the counter, and they've got their second.
Interesting enough, it's basically their second inside 50. They've been in twice for 2 goals. West Coast have been inside their 50 for 7 times for just the 1 goal. That is getting true bang for their buck for East Perth. 2 goals, 2 inside 50 entries, and West Coast have been living in their forward half, have only managed 1 goal, 1.
East Perth are spilling out forward numbers there. They read the play, backed that they were going to win it, and it worked on this occasion as Hilly runs into the definition of an open goal.
Brady Gray 4 disposals early. Archie's had 3. Foley, O'Neill and Rebillard along with Bailey Williams 2. And checking in on East Perth stats, Rowan Kerr, the former West Perth player, of course, who's joined the club via Pinjarra, has had 4. Ajang has had 3. And Magro and McKenzie along with Rudrum 3 each as well. There's some stats early.
You can tell why Dobson's been brought into this side along with Horton, a bit of a focal point up forward, and he did provide the contest on that occasion. Ajang's little dribble kick to centre half forward. Oh, that's a heavy hit as Gray looked to apply the tackle and got dealt a nasty blow. Wouldn't mind seeing it again. He hops up, tough as nails, Brady Gray.
He is tough. There it is here in replay. Took the tackle. Yep, front on. Then did not let go of that tackle of Matthew Young of East Perth.
Ball spilling into the East Perth forward 50. Right collects, feigns an opponent. Goes on the left boot. He's hooked it a tab, but it's kept its line. And East Perth have kicked their 3rd.
3 times inside 50, 3 goals. This player, I was talking to Luke Webster about this player, and I'm talking about Stanley Wright. Beautiful long left foot kick along the lines of Daniel Rich. He was a Jack Clark medalist in the Waffle Colts competition, and he's only small. He's from Dunsborough, but Luke Webster was telling me this kid, all things being equal, is an excitement machine, and don't be surprised if he doesn't find his way into the AFL somewhere if he stays focused on his footy.
It was a quality finish, just to have the poise to run around that one East Perth defender that was loitering inside the 50. Steady, looked calm, and in the end, a quality finish. I didn't see this coming, Tim. A couple of quick successive goals from the Royals.
3 for 3. That's exactly what the coaching staff would be wanting. Jeremy Barnard, get in and be productive.
The big workhorse has been given the nod and going inside the CBD. In fact, the umpire's called a shepherd against the skipper. So this would be their 3rd free kick from the centre bounce.
Correct.
And Ajang, the recipient, so already causing a few headaches inside the centre. Umpire signals play on.
Got a fair pair of boots on.
He launches long inside 50. Dobson sets himself and he takes an easy grab in the end. Both Harry Edwards and Braden Ainsworth couldn't get any kind of fist on that. And the East Perth lining up for their 4th straight in the opening quarter.
Long searching kick. Harry Edwards was caught on the back foot. And you're right. And then coming front on Ainsworth was really trying to be front and centre. But that is a strong mark by Dobson.
Michael Dobson.
Mitch.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Coming in, he'll kick from the paint of the 50.
Yeah.
As it hold its line, it's just missed to the right-hand side. A let off there for West Coast. And the first blemish on the East Perth scorecard.
He's a big boy. He's 92, 94 kilos. He's a strong bullocking side. And as I said, he's very strong on both sides of his body.
Mutimer dances around his opponent. Bombs it long down the centre. Few options there.
Gee.
The pack crashes, and another free kick going East Perth's way, or Lango the recipient. You see that one, Tim? You're looking at
pushing
stats.
the back. Pushing the back.
He wants to go wide. Cahill the option. Got a man loose on the wing. In fact, he's fallen over. Didn't get time for him. Wants to go back inside to Orlango. East Perth want to work it by hand. Anderson shrugs the tackle. Orlango running past. Feigns the option, but he's well held up. Just got the handball away to Anderson. It's a rush kick now from East Perth. And again, the West Coast pressure there, forcing the turnover. East Perth overused with the handball, came unstuck.
A bit of damning stat for the West Coast Eagles, and we've played, what, 17 minutes. Tackle count, 11-1 East Perth. Working harder.
Brady Gray wants to send it long down the line. Waterman should have gobbled that one up. Ball goes out the back. Well shrugged there from Cahill. Handballing board. Loose footy collected. Arbin goes to centre half forward. Fisher's got front position. He holds it well. Dobson bearing down. Crunching tackle. Loose footy. Fisher back on it. Just spirals it inside. Said it's someone else's problem. And Cahill read it all the way. Easy mark. Wants to switch up play. Haven't seen too many switches in this game thus far. It's Gorda. Sees a teammate at half forward. This is Arbin. Got a bit of time in the end. Wants to go the long option. 2v1. Houghton's the target. Brady Gray, high tackle. Luckily not called. In fact, the non-controlling umpire spotted it.
Yeah, and it was there. There's little doubt about that. So this is really becoming a problem for West Coast. That would be... They're certainly getting beaten around most contests. Yeah, the right arm coming up over the top.
You can see the controlling umpire was behind, so he was blindsided there. Dean Marr gets next door. I'm just going to let him know that wasn't his fault. It's blindsided, Tim.
I think he's got the Eagles game tomorrow night, Dean Marr gets. This is Matthew Young.
Young's going to line up from 40. No angle to speak of. Long ball, distance, no problem. The accuracy is another behind for the Royals.
Yeah, a couple of let-offs here now. So they got those 3 goals for the first 3 inside 50 entries, and they've missed 2 set shots from within range. So this is lucky for West Coast. They've got to hang in here. We've got 19 minutes, not far away from quarter time, but they do have to find a way of working through this setup from East Perth, who are defending stoutly.
Quality kick out from Rotham. Goes to Waterman, but West Coast want to utilise the switch here. Obviously, prolific at it at the top level. Want to kind of introduce it here at the waffle form. Fisher on the outer side. Been more than serviceable in his first year at the top level. Oh, terrific grab from behind. Well plucked there. Umpire's got to bring it back. It's going the way of Archie, and he can't take a grab. I'm surprised he's come back down to earth after his hanger a couple of weeks ago against South Freo. Thought he might have still been airborne.
He should have a licence. Anything he likes.
He delivers long down the line. Terrific grab there from Bailey Wilson. Third man up. Bailey Williams, rather, goes inboard. Ainsworth the target. Here we go. West Coast streaming forward with some numbers. Kick inside 50. Waterman from behind. Can't take it. Hug. Looking for the handball option, but it's cut off from Rudram. And East Perth will have a chance for possession, and they'll go back to Mackenzie.
There's a shallow entry. They had the 2-on-1 further down the ground. It just wasn't enough on the kick.
Dangerous kick, but it works. Young takes it in front of Mutimer. Little dark kick inside's dangerous. Well read there from Kerno. Lowers the eyes. 2v1. The small man, Rebillard, takes it. Gives to Cameron. A chance on the snap, and he's hit the woodwork. Oh, that was an opportunity gone begging. I can't believe the contest Rebillard's provided. 2v1, shortest man on the ground. Not a bad effort whatsoever. East Perth clear in a hurry. They've got options on. McGinnity 1, Brady Gray. Great effective spoil there. Falls to Reed. Archie, can he hit a target inside 50? Goes the pocket, and that's a fantastic mark from behind in Waterman. Clearly East Perth playing front position in the early going of this first term. And he takes a quality contested mark and will line up for his first of the evening.
Yeah, just his second kick, Jake Waterman. Just repeating the news, he's been omitted from the team for tomorrow night's contest against Melbourne, replaced by Willie Rioli. And these are the opportunities that he's just keeps having to take. Walk off 3 or 4 goals and keep knocking down the door, because he would have been unlucky to lose his spot, but you certainly couldn't have kept Willie Rioli out of the lineup.
Waterman, the leading goal kicker for the West Coast team in this waffle competition. Looks good off the boot. Umpire doesn't move, straight over his hat. And West Coast move within a goal. That is absolutely what he has to do with every opportunity he gets. If he can clunk 4 or 5 strong marks around that range and connect on an 80% success rate, that will certainly hold him in good sway. The West Coast Eagles match committee are here watching this, and if they're not, I'm sure they're watching on the stream as we speak. But that was a lovely effort by Jake Waterman. Key for him, in and out of the side, had injury and a couple of little form issues. Bottom line is, he is always going to be in that 22 to 28 player range, and the opportunity is going to come. So when he comes back to waffle, that's exactly what he's got to do. Clunk the marks and connect on the scores. That's a good response from West Coast, because they've been under siege for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Fell for young Wilcox there, his debut for East Perth, just out of position. Waterman able to take it quite cleanly. Brooksby wins the hit out. Falls to Hilly. Good pick-up. Finds McGinnity. Tries to turn in the tackle. He's dispossessed. Foley picks it up. Can't find a target. Good desperation there in the centre circle. Ainsworth spills out to him. Ducks the adjacent tackle nicely. Just slams it on the boot to centre half forward. Good contest. McInnes, the Rove. He's collected, taken to ground. Umpire will ball it up inside the centre square. That was good. That was really good by West Coast in that real hard contest in and under. They've been beaten in a lot of those contested stoppages over the last 5 or 6 minutes. That was a good win for them. Umpire restarts play. Foley, hurried kick. Doesn't travel the required 3 metres. Blee just kicks for space here on the broadcast wing. React the first to arrive. Tries to paddle it to himself. Nothing doing. Almost finds a teammate in doing so. Ball in dispute. In the end, I think 2 players are wrapped up at the same time, and the umpire says, give it to me. We'll restart it all. Brady Gray, 5 disposals. Archie, 4. And over at East Perth, 5 to Ajang and Alengo. Quick kick forward for the Eagles. To centre half forward. Ball spills out the back. Rudrum can't handle it. Hot footy here. Wilcox loses it. McInnes. To Matty Allen, to the pocket. That's a great measured kick. Waterman on a strong lead. Cahill unable to get a fist in there. No wind to worry about here. Probably won't go for the distance. Ducks inside, sees the option, and it's Matty Allen. Good vision there. And great second effort from Allen, who kicked it to the lead of Waterman. He ran on, got into the space and got 20 metres closer to goal. We're right behind this kick. This is a good response from East Perth, from West Coast. They get a goal here and they're all tied up, because it certainly was looking a little shaky there, but win the ball in the middle, and that's what's happened with Keegan Brooksby going back into the guts. So this is a big chance to tie things up. Averaging 23 disposals on the year. The big truck, Matty Allen, he's pulled this kick though. It's travelled through the wrong side of the stick. Didn't mind the kick there from Waterman, probably right on his range. Found a target he liked and executed. He's come off the ground, Waterman, for a bit of a break. He's worked hard. Probably get a few lollies to reward himself. Quality inside 50. Cahill goes to himself and then sends it long, but that's out of play. Sloppy from East Perth. They'll no doubt try to hold on to this lead heading into the opening quarter. Fisher has it. The majority of numbers in front of him, so no choice but to kick to congestion. North heads back for East Perth, gets in front of the pack. Ball at ground level. McInnes, Scott, just sends it long in anyone's direction. Good spoil there from Mutimer, brings it to ground. Good desperation there from the Eagles. Fighting hard at ground level, but in the end it's Blee who prevails. Handball ride to Hilly, and they're on the attack now from the outside wing. Short little dab pass finds McInnes. Good run there from the ex-Eagle. They've got numbers here. Here's Semelko. There's an option on in the pocket, but the kick's an absolute train wreck. Somehow it almost works for McGinnity. He throws his head back. I don't know about that one, Tim. There was a fair bit of acting in it.
The left arm, I think.
Tell me what you see here.
The left arm.
Ah!
Against Murtimer.
Paddy McGinnity.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. He did make the most of it, did Paddy?
Didn't he just? But
season campaigner.
Indeed he is. Pat McGinnity. 93 games with the West Coast
Where do you
Eagles.
reckon he learnt to do the duck?
What do you think they have a class there at the Eagles, do you, Tim? Here he is, the ex-Eagle. A chance to put East Perth in a commanding position, or the lead, in fact, inside the first quarter, and he's put it through the help of the umpire, but it doesn't matter in the scorebook. East Perth move ahead here.
Here's another replay thanks to Hungry Jacks. There it is there. Yeah, no, nothing doing there. It was hardly got an arm on him. Umpire was caught. Actually, umpire was in the corridor with his. Well, he wasn't facing the action. Yeah, and well, that's what the experienced man had to do. So he's leading from the front. This is a handy little buffer, isn't it? 11 points coming in to, of course, quarter time. Single goal kickers to Hill, McGinnity, Stanley Wright kicked that beautiful goal with the left, and Mitchell Dobson. Well, Jake Waterman is the goal kicker, of course, for the West Coast Eagles.
Harder than a cat's head, Pat McGinnity. So I don't like seeing him throw it back inside their forward 50 and the umpire fall for it. But either way, the goal is through and it's in the scorebook.
And Xavier O'Neill's also got one, of course.
Umpire to restart play back in the middle. Brooksby's back in there. Ainsworth, check side kick to centre half forward. Ball goes over the back. Cahill does well. Runs away from his opponents. Finds Kerr. They're conceding territory here, East Perth, but they do hold possession. Good kick there from Gorder, but even better spoil from Rebillard. Here goes Fisher. Just barrels it forward to centre half forward. Reid pushes his opponent under it. Very clever. But McKenzie collects for East Perth. Goes long, seeking the boundary line. Oh, that's a quality mark there from Blee. Steps in front of Fisher, and look at the size difference. Certainly utilised it on that occasion.
Yeah, former Port Adelaide player, of course. Two-time club champion here at East Perth. Nathan Blee, good player.
He wants to go long, down the line. Gray holds his ground well. Ajang, he's taken without it. Free kick count, Tim?
Well, that's not. I don't have access to the free kick count, but I'm sure I'll be given it. But one thing's for sure, it's certainly not in favour of the West Coast Eagles.
We'll go with 8-2. Start from there.
I reckon that's being generous. I reckon it's up in double figures by this stage.
Ajang with the brightest footy boots you ever want to see.
Very bright on the night like tonight.
Goes inboard to Cahill. And East Perth, you can tell with the directive, let's just run the clock out here, boys. We have played 28 minutes. Siren probably not too far away. Back feed to Rudram. He's going to have a bounce. No, why wouldn't you with Williams? But he's well pressured at the end. It's all West Coast here. Archie, uncontested mark, wants to go quick, but has second thoughts. Not too many options inboard, so the little dinky kick over the top finds Waterman. And here comes Hug on the outside. Sees a target inside 50. Good delivery. It's Matty Allen, and he's definitely got the distance. In fact, he's going to want to have to because the siren sounded here at Leederville Oval. It's an 11-point lead to East Perth thus far because we have the truck, big Matty Allen lining up on the siren to put through West Coast, third goal of the term.
Yeah, he had a shot, of course, from about 20 metres closer where he pushed it to the right. I don't think it was anything to do with wind or conditions. He just basically pushed it. He's going to need every bit of 55.
The monster crowd here at Leederville Oval will be cheering for him, and he hooked the last one, and on this occasion he's pushed it. So can't find the middle there, Matty Allen. And no score to speak of for the West Coast Eagles. So the lead remains at quarter time, 11 points, Tim, but plenty more game to go.
East Perth 4-2-26, West Coast 2-3-15. That quarter went 28.5 minutes. You're watching the West Coast live stream of the West Coast Eagles waffle team up against East Perth. Thanks to Hungry Jacks, it is East Perth by 11 at the first break. Back with more highlights and second quarter action.
Is there anything better than Hungry Jack's thick cut chips?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's large chips for just $2.
Or a cheesy cheeseburger for $2 and a nuggets and chips carry cup only $3. Penny pinchers everyday value at Hungry Jack's.
Yeah, well, right in the heart are the three circles. And the three circles represent the supporters, staff, and the players in the middle, you know, so it's concentric circles of support.
It's a jumper for an AFL footy team in an AFL footy game, you know, but at the same time it gives an opportunity to link in with the community. When I think about being out there on display, I think about that strong men and growing up through ceremony and learning those things.
It's in line with traditional buka, which is traditional kangaroo skin cloak. that the old people would wear, but also it draws synergies in with ceremonial artwork and that kind of stuff. And at times during ceremony, the old people would not just paint themselves, but also add feathers to their attire as part of their ceremonial garment. And it's taking elements of that and including it in the design.
When we had the rap meetings and stuff, yeah, it was very good how we had non-Indigenous as well putting input onto the Guernsey. As you know, we're all the same, so it was very good having all those guys vote as well. And then I also took it around the players, some of the senior players, and got their thoughts. And yeah, most of the guys like the designs that I'm going to jump in now, so yeah, went with these ones.
The Wago is a central figure in the artwork, and in its role as overseer of the responsibilities it gave to Noongar people in caring for the land.
It comes back to respect, and like that's a big thing with Indigenous culture in particular, is not just respect your elders, but also respect the land, respect the animals, and respect yourself and your role in that. Given that the AFL are kind of opening their arms to Indigenous culture and allowing that respect to grow.
Well, for me, celebrating is a lot of things. Especially being Indigenous, not so much all the other stuff. It's just when I grew up watching Indigenous players, they inspired me. They were role models without even them noticing about it, and the impact they have in the community as well. And that's why I celebrate it these days. Very, very big, and some of the teammates as well.
What? They do wraps?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's new chicken wraps with bacon and avocado. Choose succulent tender crisp or flame grilled chicken breast. Try our 100% Aussie chicken breast wraps. Hungry Jack's, now delivering with menu log.
Thanks to Hungry Jacks. Welcome back to Leederville Oval. It is East Perth holding an 11-point lead, 4-2-26 to 2-3-15 over the West Coast Eagles. Now, interesting stat, free kick count for all those people who are on the Facebook, on the YouTube, who are watching this, it is 11-3. Now, as you see on that screen right there, back left, that's Russell Wolfe from the ABC radio in the blue, and I'm sure that is Max Gawn from the Melbourne Football Club, who is too close for my liking to the West Coast Eagles huddle. We might want to focus in on that if we can, boys. He's the bloke in the back left with the beanie on. Just make sure he doesn't get too close to that West Coast Eagles huddle. Of course, Max Gawn playing tonight, and Nick Nat-Nui also standing inside that huddle as well. So, interesting enough. So we can see what's going on. That's Will Schofield. Nothing looks like... I was actually taking the mickey, mate. But
I thought you were. I just assumed it was Will Schofield teeing up his next media deal, to be honest, with the ABC.
I was taking... Yes, they do a bit of radio. So, yes, I was just taking the mickey about being Max Gawn. But I can see Nick Nat-Nui at the back of that group, which is fantastic. Josh Smith, no touches.
Surprising. Haven't seen him around. I don't know how much time on ground. We don't get that stat up here in the box, Tim, but haven't seen him around the contest too often, and certainly not lining up in the CBD or wing in the early going there in the opening turn.
Yeah, let's take a look then at some of the stats. Jackson Cale 7, Kerr 7, Ajang 6, and Archie's had 6. This is combined. So Archie, the leading stat getter for the West Coast Eagles. Gordas had 5, and Mackenzie 5, Alango 5, and Rudgrim 5 ahead of Fisher and Gray 5, and Waterman's had 5 and a goal. So interesting enough, if you look at the pound for pound, the amount of stats both teams have had, it's certainly been dominated by East Perth. Inside 50s, 14-6 in favour of the West Coast Eagles. So just 6 times inside 50 for East Perth. They've scored every single time, 4-2. I'm sure that's something that Luke Webster and the coaching staff will be trying to address at quarter time. But at this stage, singles to Dobson, Hill, McGinnity and Wright. And for the West Coast Eagles, O'Neill got the first and Waterman with their second. Second quarter action. Hope you're enjoying it. Thanks to Hungry Jacks. This is the West Coast Eagles live stream. We do it for all of our waffle fixtures. And tonight we're at Leederville Oval for this Thursday night fixture in the WAFL. We are 6th, the West Coast Eagles, and East Perth currently 9th in this contest.
Perfect conditions here this evening at Leederville Oval after some rainfall throughout the morning and I guess lunchtime in the Perth area. So very fortunate that cleared up to get some kind of a spectacle for the fans here at the ground and of course all of you watching at home. The umpire looks to start up the second term here. West Coast, I don't think will be too panicked with this early East Perth lead, but I wouldn't want to be giving up too many in the early going here. Ajang rises high, but in the end, Brooksby wins out and goes down to win the hard footy. Searches for Ainsworth. Tackle high. And Scott's going to take full advantage, is he? The umpire wants to bring it back, and I'm sure Dobson would be well flat because he would have received that somewhere between the chest and nipple region. So what's that, 12-3? I think that was there. I think Ainsworth definitely got him high, but I'm just keeping it as a 12-3 free kicks, Tim.
It's 12-3. I'm going to keep that stat because it's not on the Waffle app, so I'm going to deal with it myself from here on in. 12-3 free kicks, East Perth.
East Perth must run the stats then, keeping that one off for tonight's proceeding. Sends it inside 50. Dobson was late. West Coast numbers out back. Fisher arrives. There's Joshy Smith for his first touch in the second term.
That was a free kick.
Goes wide. Waterman comes out a long way from his attacking 50 to get this one. Matty Allen attempts the one-hand claw collect, can't bring it in, and he's taken to ground. Have a throw up on the outer side.
Not too sure we can see a replay, but that tackle from the East Perth player, the forward on the West Coast Eagles, unsure who it was fierce, high, and swung him around in a 360. Almost took his head off his shoulders.
I saw you got quite excited about that. Must have missed it. As Wright is harassed. Gray soccers it out of play, and a throw in on the forward 50.
There it is here. There it is here. Look at this. Over. Look at the tackle.
Nothing in that, you reckon?
No, definitely something in it. No, the tackle was Samelko, of course, on our man, Fisher.
Umpire brings it into play. Ajang reads it best. Left foot kick, dangerous area. Rotham goes to ground. A chance. Horton snaps. It's going across the face. Just sneaks in for a behind.
Ajang's an interesting one. Of course, he played in the Waffle Reserves against Subiaco Grand Final. He had 33 hitouts on that, and he's also been given the AFL medical screening as well. So there's clearly some interest in him from AFL clubs.
For mid-season drafts, you're speaking, Tim?
Yep.
What an exciting opportunity that would be for the young ruckman. As West Coast searching for the big skipper on the outer side. Good take in front of ex-teammate Tony Orlango. He'll enjoy that one. Just holds it up a bit. He'd love to be on the end of this one because I think it's going to go along down the line. Pack sets itself. Brooksby pushed out of it. Umpire saw every bit of it. And a free kick to the South Australian.
Things are starting to level up, do you think, in the free kick?
Long way to go. We're at base camp of Everest right now as he goes to the flank. North sets himself, can't bring it in. Umpire says front on. No, I don't know what that was for because I thought it was front on contact. Foley plays on, goes inside 50, got the loose man. It's Smith. He's hustled out of it. East Perth arrive in numbers. Gorda collects, wants to come down the wing. McGinnity is going to be first to the scene. In fact, a terrible bounce. Mutimer takes full advantage. Good handball back. Edwards has to measure this pass and it's pitch perfect. Finds Waterman. He's got a few options streaming back. He's under-kicked it, unfortunately. And Rudrum picks it off. They had numbers streaming back into the 50 there, Tim. Bit of a wasted chance.
Yeah, he was certainly on the back foot. I think he wanted to get it on a tad quicker. It probably needed to be a little bit deeper.
Rudrum, no options inside. Launches long down the line. Push there from Dobson. Umpire misses it. Ball in dispute. Blee only had one target. It was Gorda. Hands down the line to Hill. Makes Ajang work, but it's going to fit nicely for him. Handball inside Dobson. Goes a bit of a scrubber kick, and it's well read. Good intercept mark there from Curnow. And East Perth were away. Smith takes it, waits for cavalry to arrive. He chips back across the face. This is Josh Rotham. Interesting week for Josh Rotham. Obviously lives with Stan Wright, the East Perth player. So I don't know how tensions would have been in the house this week.
Does Fraser, the big fella, live with them too?
Nah, I think he either moved out or saw the light.
He got shipped out.
Agreed. Oh, the kicking board's an absolute train wreck, but it's dropped there from Blee. It gives West Coast a chance here. Archie.
Clever.
Can he take advantage? The check side kick. Anyone's ball. Orlango has the line, but he can't take it. Loose footy in the centre. Gray arrives. Puts Archie under the pump, but handles it well. Little delivery to Hug and a deft little chip. Finds O'Neill. Here we go, a chance for Smith. Options in the pocket. It's Akers. In fact, it's Matty Allen on the outer side, and he takes an uncontested mark. Will line up for his third shot in the opening half.
Yeah, absolutely. It's his third shot. That was better football from West Coast, and it was clever by Gray, but I will say there was a couple of really deft touches from Archie, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I'm going to tell you, he's the cleanest player out on this ground by the Flemington straight.
Well, Matty Allen's gone hook, slice. What will he do with the third? It's on its way. Umpire does some work. It's just got the distance. Good work there from the truck. He puts through his West Coast third goal of the opening half.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those, again, one of those on-the-cusp type footballers at West Coast. He's just got to keep delivering, put pressure on. When the opportunity comes up, he's got to take it. Here it is here. There's some clean ball movements through the middle. Good run from the back half. Even there with Smith, he was almost 3 or 4 possessions back, and he realised he was going to be on the end of it and just needed clean delivery. That's good footy by West Coast. That's a very good start to this second quarter.
Great pull of the kick there from Hug to find Foley. Could have blazed away, saw him late, and that was a beautiful little pass to assist. They get the first of the second quarter here, West Coast. Just the 1 goal margin thus far, played 5 minutes.
Just waiting on the 6-6-6 to come into place. Everyone's rushing back to the East Perth attacking end of the ground.
The umpire slams into the turf.
Good bounce.
Brooksby wins another hit out. He's battling well against Ajang thus far. Follows up with a good tackle, but it's Blee with the clearance. Good body work there from Akers. Doesn't work though. East Perth with the possession. Hilly. Mongrel kick inside forward 50. Edwards does well to keep it in front of him. Mutimer's claimed immediately by Scott. Umpire says, give it to me, we'll ball it up.
He's been okay, Mutimer. I reckon he's starting to get the groove. He didn't play in the Freo game down at Fremantle Oval a couple of weeks ago, but he's been good tonight.
Held over as emergency, I believe, in that game, Tim. As Mutimer wins out, finds Reed, sets a task for Abiliard, needs it to sit. It does perfectly. Handball over the top. This is Allen. Handball down the line. O'Neill taken high. Well done by Cahill. Held him up well. Ball out of play.
A lot of people are watching on Facebook, of course. You're watching the Waffle stream of this, the West Coast Eagles stream of the Waffle fixture, West Coast and East Perth. Dave Greenwood is enjoying the coverage from the other side of the Nullarbor plain.
On your Davo.
On your Davo.
Good work. Umpire tosses it back into play. Over the top of both ruckmen. Ajang finds Kerr, shrugs the tackle well. A chance here for the Royals to burst through the guts. In the end, a bit of a hack kick forward. Works perfectly for Dobson, but it bounces off that humongous chest of his. Back onto Kerr. Hilly, here's the voice. Here's McGinnity. Lines up for his second, but he hooks it.
Just let off. Good steadying time now here for East Perth. And just one other, we're not going to send Cheerios all night, but I want to make mention of Bill Miller, who's watching from Connecticut in the States.
That's your winner, Tim. You're not going to beat that tonight, mate.
He's cheering for East Perth.
Nah, we'll ban him from the call.
See you, Bill.
Good delivery there. That's a bit harsh, isn't it? Kalasic.
Good to see he's loving his waffle footy.
Third Waffle Club, Kalasic. Starting with the Perth Demons. Then moving on to Shark Park. And then over here to the West Coast Eagles. Couple of rough trots, if it must be said, from the back. Brooksby via Ajang, but it's well collected from O'Neill. His kicks a turnover. Rudrum happy to receive here on the broadcast side wing. He's got a loose man down the line, spots him well. It's the target. This is McGuinness. Normally a prolific goal kicker for the Royals. Too far out to score on this occasion, obviously. Hooks it to the pocket. Not ideal for his forwards. Will sit. They do have numbers. The handball is ill-directed. Picked it up by Mutimer. In the end, the goal, the boundary umpire says, it is my ball, gentlemen.
Archie's had 8 disposals, Waterman 7, Matty Allen 6 and a goal, Luke Foley 6 and Brady Gray 6 for the West Coast Eagles.
Good to see Brady Gray back in this lineup. Essential to the engine room, I feel, Tim. Throwing is shallow. Players adjust. Archie, measured kick down the line. No. In the end, McInnes couldn't quite reel it in.
It's touched off the boot throwing.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, that is very handy for West Coast. Interesting enough, we talk about Brady Gray. When I was arriving at the game last week, the AFL game at Optus Stadium, he was walking around the outside of the venue while the state game was on. Not too sure what he was trying to find a ticket.
We didn't play with 21 men by any chance, did we? Here he is off as if on cue. Quick hack kick forward, McKenzie. Can't reel it in, ball out of play.
The runners out there with Josh Smith in the middle of the ground. Just at the top of your screen there.
7-point difference I have it at as the scoreboard. A little bit different from what's in the ticker on the top left corner. McKenzie feigns back inside, runs out of real estate. Well pinched there from Matty Allen. Opens up the corridor. He's got one option inside. Forced to go to it. Williams well held, and in the end, East Perth through Wilcox. Kerr arrive in numbers, and Anderson will relieve the pressure for the Royals on the outer side.
Yeah, you're right there, Bandy. It is 28-21 West Coast. 4-4-28 to 3-3-21.
Scott lowers the eyes, little short pass. Finds Magro on the outer side. Is it Magro or it's Wilcox? Wilcox on the outer side. Umpire waves him on. Says you've had enough time. Launches down the line, front position. Brooksby can't reel it in. A chance for Hill. He's got loose men here. Arbin wants to move it on quickly. Dobson's got a ton of room. He's going to waltz in for the easiest goal of his career. That's his second.
Yeah, too easy. He just snuck out the back. West Coast were all drawn to the football. But, yeah, he's a big rig, and that's his second goal. And that is good work. So that'll take East Perth to 34. Just slightly different to the ticker on the top of your screen, according to the scoreboard here at the venue and also on the Waffle app. So it is, just correct that for you, 5-4-34 to 3-3-21, and Dobson's got his second.
Know how that defensive breakdown happened there, Tim. There wasn't quick ball movement from the back half. They certainly had a ton of time to move it up, East Perth, and West Coast through their press ended up having one out the back and an easy goal there for Dobson, who is looking very ominous in the early going here.
Yep, Daniel Akers, who's one of our add-on players at West Coast, needs to just tighten up a little bit there. Almost ball watching, got sucked to the contest, and Dobson leaked out the back.
Umpire to restart play. Brooksby again with another hit out. Gray's taken high. Umpire saw every bit of it, and he's down on the haunches so far, Gray. Just caught one a little high. Looks to be okay. Tough as nails, as you know, Tim.
So tough. He is so tough.
Kicks to centre half forward. Matty Allen collects. He's been very busy in this opening half. Spot Smith, who's starting to get into the action in the second quarter here for West Coast. Wants to find an option in the pocket. It's a quality lead from the big workhorse, and he's got it. Not much Orlango can do in that point in time. And Fraser will line up for his opening goal in the first half.
Just his second mark. 5 marks to Jake Waterman, which is a good stat to keep an eye on for Jake Waterman. So he's finding plenty of the footy.
Wrong side for the left footer, but he'll have a ping anyway. McInnes floats it across the pack. Easy pickings there for a Jang. Not much big Bailey Williams could do on that occasion. And East Perth will go to the outer side. They've got the overlap numbers. Rotham attempted the spoil. Couldn't lay a hand on Arbin. Look at the numbers streaming through the ground. Here we go. It opens right up for the Royals here.
Dobson.
Kick to centre half forward. Dobson's got some space. Not too many options. Kicks it into the man on the mark. Well done there from, I think it was Akers providing that critical smother.
It was.
Edwards with time. Assesses the option, sees one in the middle he likes. Good mark there from Ainsworth. That was clutch. Thought about playing on.
50 metres.
Or Arbin just held him up a bit too much there.
Yeah, he sort of feigned to play on. I reckon it was a hard call on the East Perth player. But interesting, we saw Dobson then. If Akers hadn't spoilt that ball, it was out the back. And I can tell you, Angus Scott was lurking inside 50. It would have been a goal easy for East Perth.
Ainsworth knew he didn't have the distance. Sends it to the top of the square. Williams works from behind. Wilcox is there, ball at ground level. Anderson takes down Ainsworth in the tackle. And East Perth will emerge through Scott. Kick inboard. It's going to work for them. They've got numbers streaming for Dobson again. Just with plenty of room. Bit of a ski rope back there in the half for West Coast. Not too many options forward. Has to go laterally. Finds Arbin. He wants to launch. Top of the goal square. Hilly's got the sit. Rotham does well to provide the pressure. Boundary lines the win, and he finds it. Well done there from Joshy Rotham, out of position to force a throw-in.
Yeah, they've turned him around a couple of times, and Dobson's been very, very good. He's had a couple of opponents in those one-on-ones. They're getting it in quick. West Coast defence would want to be careful of this. They're very quick in transition, East Perth, and they're playing like a team that's certainly won more than one game.
They are streaming forward with a sniff of winning the contest at the moment. West Coast will be wary of it.
Rowan Kerr, very damaging, has 10 disposals, 5 and 5.
William brings it down. Edwards just bombs it out of 50, makes it someone else's problem. Good contest there from big Fraser McInnes. In the end, the umpire, no choice but to throw it up about 70 metres out from the East Perth goal. 13 points here, about halfway through the second term at Leederville Oval. Crowd's starting to fill up a bit more than it did an hour ago, Tim.
Yeah, they've had dinner down in Leedy.
Pleasant to see.
Did you have dinner before we come?
I did. That was clutch. I was going to start eating my jacket if I didn't. Long working day as Blees, the recipient of a free kick, puts it to the dangerous area. Well read there from Brodie Riak. Takes the chest mark in the end in the right back pocket for West Coast. The Category B rookie for the West Coast Eagles. First year on the list, doing a splendid job thus far. Ball spills at the ground. Bleeds the first to react. Magro to right. Sets Cahill a task, but he's up for the challenge. His back feed to right isn't so friendly. Runner in north. Goes to the flank. Waterman playing the role as defender. Don't know how many times he's done that in his career.
Good tackle.
Oh, and he butters up well too. Put him back there permanently, Simo. Umpire says, give it to me. We'll have a ball up.
Yeah, that was strong. I like it. I like his work rate at the moment, Jake Waterman. He might not be getting free ball, but I'll tell you what, he's working hard right up in between the 250s. I think Adam Simpson and the coaching staff would be liking what they see.
Umpire hits the deck. Love that every day of the week. Fraser McInnes, strong chest mark there. The captain wants to move it quickly. Measured pass down the line. This is Rebillard. Numbers stream back for East Perth. He wants to go inboard. Archie got the runner in Mutimer. Thumping kick with his left foot. No exception on this occasion. Brooksby from behind had position. North did well to bring it to ground. Brooksby's taken by about 2 East Perth tacklers. And in the end, well held up.
I had to mark that. He had absolute size against both those East Perth players, and he got his hands on it. So a couple of times tonight, Brooksby's had a chance to outmark the opposition and grasped it.
He's in the ruck against Semelko. Easy tap, but into the path of Magro. Ball at ground level. How the numbers around this contest. Matty Allen somehow extracts it, sends it high. Is it the required 15? It is, and McKenzie takes full advantage with, in the end, a chest mark.
Yeah, I think Jake Waterman was waiting for a teammate to come in and help to keep McKenzie away from the footy. He was unsuccessful.
Scott lowers the eyes. Arborn on the back flank for East Perth.
That tackle count still distorted too. 26-14 East Perth.
Long down the line. West Coast with numbers. Ball trickles out the back, but this is getting dangerous now. Fisher goes to ground. Houghton. Little handball. They've got the run of it here. Hill has another player on. East Perth will send it to the top of the square. Where's Dobson? He's from behind. Oh, it's one out there, Akers. Umpire has blown his whistle. He's painted holding the ball.
Tried to break through a couple of tackles, and, well, there's no need for that. I think that might be Joel Houghton coming in, letting him know.
What terrific work right there from McKenzie for East Perth. Takes the relief, defensive mark, and then butters up forward to be the recipient of this free kick, and most likely putting through another goal for the Royals.
Here's the replay of it. So Akers gets the footy and just basically tries to bust through. Sort of knocked out of his hands, to be brutally honest with you.
That's a tough one. If you held it to him and was taken and the ball didn't spill, I can't see that holding the ball, Tim.
McKenzie dead in front, shouldn't have any problems kicking the goal, and doesn't. So there it is there. East Perth get their 6. A bit about this young man, of course. Shaquille McKenzie, Colts reserves in league. Played a league game back in 2011. I think he might have been 16 at the time. He then well-travelled. He went back to the Northern Territory. He played for Subiaco and has returned to the club now that the alignment's not here and he can see more opportunities. So Shaquille McKenzie, good player, averaging a goal a game in his league football career, and there's another one.
Quality defensive tackle. Hard to argue with his pressure in his last 2 minutes, in fact.
Still getting the right into the pineapple with the umpires too. Free kick count more to the point, not the umpires.
East Perth have extended this lead from quarter time, Tim. Bit of a worry, no doubt. The aim from Coach Luke Webster would be to tighten up that initial 2-goal lead that they had. 1 goal lead at quarter time.
2-goal lead, 11 points.
Don't know why I'm second-guessing myself. As Bailey Williams gets thrown to the ruck for the first time today.
Just ask me a question, I'll give you the answer, mate.
Nick Reid tries to bust through the tackle, was dispossessed. Ball hits the deck. Foley putters up well.
Use that loosely.
Ainsworth just has to get rid of it. Good attack on the footy there. West Coast certainly not dying wondering here in the opening half, rather. Handball inboard. Look at the numbers there for the Royals. They're swarming with the defensive pressure. Scott hurriedly on the boot. Good courage there from Rotham, but can't take it. West Coast with numbers. Little back feed. Ryak finds Fisher. A chance to steady.
It's all a bit the same here for West Coast. They just bomb it down the line. East Perth are loving this. They're just saying, thanks very much. We'll just take another mark.
Speaking of which, quality mark in front there from North.
Got to change it up here, West Coast.
Feeds to Kerr. He kicks for distance. Goes long down the line. West Coast through. Fisher can mop up. Tackle. It's a little bit untidy, but he gets another crack at it. That's an even more interesting handball. Speaking of which, Mutimer just says, boys, let's get a clearing kick. Get some pressure.
Clever.
Off us at the moment. Ainsworth draws the runner. This is Foley. Ducks back on the inside. Little snap around the corner. Tries to go the precise kick. Orlango drops what he should have taken. Scott there to make amends. And in the end, relief goes back to Wilcox in their defensive 50.
Not too sure this is going to favour East Perth at all. I reckon East Perth would have been happy to play it down that far side of the ground.
Not too many options on the near wing, as you said. Mackenzie's kick has to be precise. It is. Well taken from Houghton. Scott back to Mackenzie. Handball inboard. They're mucking around with it here, the Royals. They've got to be careful. Handball overshoots Mackenzie. But the umpire says, bring it back to me. High tackle against Cameron.
Yep.
It's going the way of Wright.
Yeah, it was just a long way behind the play. There was no need. They were wrestling, and the umpire saw Cameron, and he's still not happy about it.
Kick has to be precise. Adventurous at best. It's gone through the hands of the West Coast defender. In the end, they get a second chance, able to mop up. Good shepherd there from Fraser McInnes. Ball heads to centre half forward. Hug sets himself. Rudrum read at best. Lowers the eyes. Mackenzie had a ton of it this quarter. Simple kick to Blee. Oh, I thought he might have been off there with the one step. Umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. And he wants the switch. They've got numbers behind the ball here, East Perth. He does just that. This is Gorda. And he looks for North. Not sure what the next kick's going to be for them on the outer side, but Kerr will assess the options. Has to go wide, only option.
Look at this.
Oh, gee, what a lead there from Arvin. Sagging well back as Fisher searches for the pocket. Lead is on. Too strong there from Ajang. Takes a quality mark there in front of Mutimer. And it'll be a difficult shot, but East Perth will line up for yet another goal in this opening half.
Don't want to say I told you so, but that's exactly where East Perth should have gone the first time. They're loving that far side of the ground. West Coast need to switch. They need to find some way of trying to stretch East Perth. For at the moment, it is so predictable. But in transition, East Perth are moving the ball far better than West Coast, and they're getting these shots on goal. This is a very, very big lead in time on second quarter for East Perth. If you can nail this, this will be a magic goal.
It will take his best effort from here. Ajang, one of the best names going around the waffle competition. Set sail, geez, he's made the goal umpire do very little work. What an absolute ripper from the East Perth ruckman, and the lead all of a sudden balloons out to 25 points.
Yeah, not bad for a bloke that played his first game of footy at the age of 16 when stepping off a plane. That is really, really good. It floated, had a nice float. Not too sure what the actual kick was exactly, a clean kick. But a 25-point lead.
Just see the ball drop.
Yeah, the ball drop was ordinary and the float was ordinary, but at the end, the result was the same. 7-4 to 3-3, worrying signs. But my view is it's just predictable stuff from West Coast. Very predictable. They're not trying to switch. There's not a lot of take the game on, try and pull East Perth out of their comfort zone, and East Perth are happy to play them on their terms.
It's interesting because we do see the West Coast seniors switching the ball, gaining that possession, want to move it back and forth, get that defensive zone moving, finding the number there. Obviously, either East Perth know that that's their MO and to shut it down, or West Coast unable to find their targets or have the bravery to execute.
You're spot on. Fraser McInnes now in the ruck.
Big workhorse going up against Samalco, ex-teammates, of course. Ball hits the deck. Umpire will restart play yet again.
East Perth doing this without some experienced players too. No Sharad Wellingham and no Jackson Ramsey. Late withdrawals from the team.
A couple of big outs for the Royals too.
Absolutely.
They'd be thrilled with this lead. With a couple of star midfielders out. Hilly emerges. Goes to the broadcast wing. Tough bounce there for Young. Mutimer collects. Clever little back feed. Finds Edwards. Tries to measure the pass. Ainsworth from behind makes a good contest. Tries to butter up. He's worried out of it. Gray. Gives to Fisher, tries to give back to Gray, but runs out of real estate. Trying to get creative there, Brady Gray. Don't mind it, but in the end, his forwards are screaming out for a bit of supply. I'd like to see it move down in that circumstance. They didn't flood back there, East Perth.
Archie checking back into the game.
Ainsworth reads it best from the throw-in. Boots it to centre half forward. East Perth with numbers. Reid provides a contest. Good follow-up there from Rebillard. O'Neill there also. And we'll have a ball up.
Jake Waterman, the only West Coast Eagle in the forward 50. And he hasn't found much of the ball in the last 10 minutes.
McInnes hit out, went to a nest of Royals. McGuinness on the inside. Semelko can't release the handball. Two Eagles run into each other. Bit of comedy of errors there. That Semelko handball was absolutely horrendous. Good tackle from Beaudeman.
Oh, please.
Dangerous tackle. You can see. Oh, gee, I thought Arben's holding his shoulder there from the dangerous tackle. He's not.
It's only because he had the ball pinned in an awkward way. Here's the replay here. I just can't agree with this. He lost control of the footy. What more can Kane move?
No, shocking decision.
Terrible decision. His head doesn't hit the ground. That's just a bad call.
Arben sinks it in long. Numbers at the back. Smith there to mop up for West Coast. Fisher.
Tackle that stuck.
Not too many options. Wants to go down the line. Pack forms. West Coast unable to collect at this point. Akers. Rebillard see it over the line.
16-8 the free kick count, and that was one of the worst ones of the night. But anyway, not want to harp on that one, but that certainly wasn't a free kick. So West Coast have got to hold firm here. They've been very disappointing in this second quarter. They look like they were working their way back into the game, but I can Fraser McInnes coming off, holding his left shoulder, collarbone area. It doesn't look good.
Not good at all. McGinnity pumps it inside 50. Dobson flies, unable to take it. A Jang, good follow-up tackle. Creates a bit of chaos inside the forward 50. Magro sees the ball out of play, with Rotham not too far behind him. 26 minutes, not too far away from the half-time siren. West Coast will certainly not want to concede another in this opening half. East Perth have expanded on their quarter-time lead by a couple of majors. As the umpire brings it back in. Brooksby front position. Well collected there from Scott, but he's taken to ground by Edwards. I'll have a ball up.
Yeah, 11 points at quarter time. The lead is now out to 25.
It spells a bit of trouble, unfortunately, Tim. The Jang reaches over the top. Good hit out. Shot on goal. It'll be a little dribble effort. Out of play in the pocket.
Interesting to see what Luke Webster would say to his players. Last week, 2 weeks ago, should I say, against South Fremantle, they showed a bit of a surge prior to half-time against South Fremantle. That was their best 10 minutes of the game, but after half-time, they dropped away quite badly, West Coast.
Short throw in yet again. Easy pickings. Brooksby feeds to Edwards, sends it down the line. Good contest. Rebillard had to get a fist on it, though, and Cahill takes the easy mark. Thought it was good courage there from Rebillard, but just had to get some kind of fist on the ball.
Yep, didn't touch it at all.
You'd have to think too far out to score, but he gives it a red-hot crack. Going to send it towards the pocket of Jang flies. And the siren just wins out for West Coast Eagle perspective. A disappointing quarter, but still plenty of footy to play, Tim.
Yeah, it certainly is. 7-4, 46 East Perth. There it is there, 3-3-21. In that quarter, West Coast added 1 goal and East Perth added 3 goals too. Dobson is the only multiple goal kicker in the game. He's got 2 singles to Hill, McGinnity and Wright, along with a Jang and McKenzie. And the issue for the West Coast Eagles is their goals are few and far between. Their goal kickers in this game so far, Allen, Waterman and O'Neill. Thanks to Hungry Jacks, it's half-time here in the Waffle live stream of this contest at Leederville Oval, and it is East Perth, the home team, 7-4, 46. West Coast Eagles with plenty of work to do, 3-3, 21.
Is there anything better than Hungry Jack's thick-cut chips?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's large chips for just $2.
Or a cheesy cheeseburger for $2 and a nuggets and chips carry cup only $3. Penny pinchers everyday value at Hungry Jack's.
2015 was, I guess, one of the hardest times of my life, but I probably learnt that if I can get through that, I can get through anything. My journey to Perth is probably a bit different to others. Obviously, Fijian background. I grew up in Midland. We're very family orientated, and I guess being in a new country, most Fijians, or even my family in particular, tend to stick together. So, I'd never had a bedroom of my own. Growing up, it was hard. You know, I'd always get told to go play basketball. You're lost out here. What are you doing? And it probably did knock me back a few times, but at the same time, it probably made me a little bit stronger as well. Gave me a thicker skin and made me want to prove people wrong. My next door neighbours, 3 or 4 Indigenous boys who are now playing AFL. Yeah, we used to train at home, and those guys, their raw talent and what they did was all the flashy stuff, you know, snapping the ball around the corner or probably doing things that a big guy shouldn't be doing is what the things I learnt first. We kind of sat down one day with our youth worker. We used to set goals, so I didn't know what that was as a kid. But then when I started to get a bit older in our teens, you know, some of these guys that mentored us said, write these things down. What do you want to do when you get older? We wanted to play AFL footy, and then they said, what do you want to do when you start earning some money? And we wrote down in our books, we want to buy our mums a house. And yeah, once we got drafted, we revisited that and looked at it again, and yeah, that was our #1 goal, I guess to play a game, but then when you start earning some money, to try and put that towards buying a house. Grand final week's normally the biggest week for any footballer's life. I lost my cousin and lost my mum in that same year, 2015. And then, I guess, losing the grand final at the end of it. Yeah, you'll go through some dark places. There'll be your ups and downs. And I think the biggest thing I learned was it's okay to grieve. And the night before the game, we kind of sat in my room and we laughed, we cried, we told stories. Yeah, so we didn't sleep. Well, I didn't sleep, to be honest, but I probably had 2 hours and then had to get up for the biggest stage in Australia, really. And it was a tough one, but yeah, I think it was all a learning process. I wish it were different, but at the same time, you know, it is what it is, and those are the circumstances. Obviously, losing the grand final, you have that hunger and desire to get back and do well. I was going okay until I did my knee. My knee was really upsetting and sad, but I guess having what happened previously in 2015, you know, put things into perspective, and I knew that I'd been to some pretty dark places and been down and out, and you know, as bad as the knee is, and you know, you are allowed to be upset about it, but I thought, you know, there's worse things out there. People forget the mental side of the rehab journey is just as hard as the physical. Just finding a balance was something that I probably drew on a fair bit, and I reverted back to the goal setting and writing things down. I had this big whiteboard where I'd write what I wanted to achieve and what date I wanted to do it by. I missed the contact. I missed feeling sore. After the first 2 or 3 games, I was really sore. I'm not gonna lie, I was sore. I was icing, I was in the ice bars, but I didn't whinge about it, and I don't think I will ever again, because it's something that I missed for, you know, 18 months or so. So I really enjoyed having that back. I know your odds are pretty high to do your other knee once you've done one. That's just the nature of it, of the injury. But I was playing some good footy, and then I got to round 17. I think it was tough. I knew straight away once I landed that I'd done my knee. Initially, it probably rocked me a little bit. I was worried, you know, because I thought, you know, I've done 2 knees. What does that mean? Am I compromised now? Can I still play footy? But then I probably switched into the phase of, you know, I've done this before. I know what it entails, what the rehab entails, and I was looking forward to the journey again. It's not the greatest thing to be doing for a year, just to be training, but I was up for the challenge and always wanted to prove people wrong, and you know, that's what I continue to do. So the Nat Nui Academy's been going for a number of years now, trying to get families involved and convinced that football isn't just about kicking a ball around. It also opens up different avenues and networks and you know, opportunities for you post your career as well. Or even if you don't make it as an elite player, there's also other avenues you can fall into. BHP's principal partner of the club, and I've always gone up to the Pilbara and done the kick and goal stuff with them, but to have them jump on board and back what I do has been massive as well. They didn't have to, and like I said, it's just another group, another organisation that's decided to fund something, but also have a vested interest in what I do. So I'm very thankful to have them on board. I miss just being out there, and I guess the camaraderie and playing with your teammates and having that reward at the end of the week. At the moment, my Saturdays look like I'm climbing stairs or jumping on sprung floors or doing extra running. I'd like my Saturdays and Sundays to be filled with, you know, running out in front of 50 or 60,000 people and having a win and singing a song with the boys.
What? They do wraps?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's new chicken wraps with bacon and avocado. Choose succulent tender crisp or flame grilled chicken breast. Try our 100% Aussie chicken breast wraps. Hungry Jack's, now delivering with menu log.
When I retire, I guess I want to be able to look back and say that I didn't leave anything in the tank. So I grew up in Melbourne, Victoria. Ever since I can remember, I always loved footy. Some of my earliest memories are trying to kick my ball over the power lines in the street when I was about 3 or 4, so didn't reach for a couple of years. As soon as I started playing, I fell in love with the team environment and club environment. When I was approaching my middle teenage years, I figured out I probably need to do a few extra things to help me along the way, and a lot of that was the way I started to watch what I ate, trained a little bit more, sometimes to my detriment. You know, I had a few injuries as a teenager, probably from overtraining, and so there's always that fear in the back of your mind, what if I don't get picked up, and what if I'm not good enough? So draft day was nerve-wracking for myself, and being 18 and being told that in 3 days' time you got to jump on a plane and go across to Western Australia where I'd never been before. It was scary, but at the same time I was appreciative of the opportunity that I'd been given. I suppose my first goal was just play a game, and yeah, getting told I had OP was frustrating. As a 18-year-old, I'd been at the club for 2 months and just wanted to go hammer and tong with training, and yeah, got told that I'd have 3 or 4 months out. So that was frustrating. But yeah, about a week after I'd been told I had osteoarthritis pubis, my sister passed away, and that was in the lead up to the first NAB Cup game, and with all the disappointment of missing out on that and being injured, yeah, it just gave me a reality check on that injuries probably aren't the worst thing in the world. I got over my OP and was in my second game back, I think, midway through the year, and fractured my leg, so that effectively ruled me out for the rest of the season. Again, I don't know whether I was being naive or what, but I kept thinking to myself, hopefully a 13, 14-year career, and this first year we can just start the slate clean next pre-season. And I was of the opinion that what I was missing out on as an 18-year-old, I'll get an extra year out of myself at the back end. Once I'd been ruled out for the rest of the 2009 season, round 1, 2010 was my goal. I spoke to John Worsfold, my coach at the time. I said to him, look, I'm only 19, but I want to be in your round 1 team. What have I got to do, and where I need to get to as a player, and what I need to do over pre-season. And yeah, had a reasonably good summer. I stayed injury-free for the most part, and yeah, got through most of it, and was fortunate enough to debut round 1. Yeah, coming back, got close to playing again, and then got glandular fever, so there was no real time frame on when I was going to be back, that was probably the toughest thing, not knowing when you could get back. And for me, it was get healthy as quick as I can, and then worry about training and getting ready to play again. 2011 was a turning point for me. I guess just getting my body right and being able to play every game was big for my confidence. Losing in 2015, I suppose you wonder whether you'll ever get the opportunity again. And then I think in 2017, we probably took a step back as a playing group. We probably didn't play the footy we needed to bat deep into finals, but felt as though everything was in place, everything except the way we were playing. You think you can imagine what it's like to win one, but then when you actually do it, it's just a whole new level. For me, it was 10 years, so my 10 years of training and playing, everything was justified just by winning that one game. Becoming a dad has been, the best thing in my life, I suppose, and premiership's a close second, but I think there's no doubt it helps you as a footballer, because we're in such a chaotic environment, and to go home at the end of the day and be around a little son or daughter who wouldn't even know what football is at the moment is kind of refreshing. Resilience is the most important trait any kid needs coming into the game these days, and even not in the AFL, but really any field of life, there's going to be adversity at some point. So I want to be around my teammates and coaches and training as often as I can, because I know when I retire one day I'll miss it, and being able to understand how lucky we actually are to live where we do, for me and for plenty of kids around the country who are going through any sort of obstacle. Yeah, I guess having your sights set on where you want to be at the end, more so than where you are at the start, is important.
Is there anything better than Hungry Jack's thick cut chips?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's large chips for just $2.
Or a cheesy cheeseburger for $2 and a nuggets and chips carry cup only $3. Penny pinchers everyday value at Hungry Jack's.
All right, boys, thanks very much
for coming along today. This is the 8th year West Coast have been running a second generation academy. Hands up who's been here before. Yep, we've got some good fun activities planned, some footy stuff, some other activities. So we'll might see a few of the players as they're walking around.
So make sure you enjoy the day and come away with a smile on your face and get the most out as you possibly can.
So today we've got our second generation academy attending a camp at Subiaco. So our second generation academy is our father, son and our father daughters of legends of the club who helped make the club what it is today. They come into camp for 2 days. The boys are here for Friday and Saturday, and we bring the daughters in on Saturday. The camp's been going for 8 years now for the sons, and this is the 3rd year. We'll be including the daughters, and ahead of AFLW 2020, when the Eagles enter the comp, we hope we might be able to see a few daughters of past champions play for the club.
So it's about engagement, it's about a bit of fun, but it's also about learning to sort of increase their football capacities as well.
And the younger kids were fantastic with their kicking. We did a bit of lane kicking, we did some competitions and some games where we test the kicking accuracy, and I was really impressed. So maybe in about 10 years' time, there might be some recruits coming through. Day 2, all right. Big day today. We've got the game later this afternoon against our dads, all right? So ready for that? Yeah. Cool. All right. Brad Shepherd and Mark Hutchins this morning have been kind enough to wander in and say g'day and answer some questions.
We just gave them a bit of insight about us as footballers and the professionalism that we take in our job, and just passing on, experiences we've given them throughout our short careers, and a lot of eager kids coming through, a lot of father sons and daughters of past players coming through, which is an exciting time for the club and for Hutchie and myself to be able to help them out and sort of be there for them and answer their questions.
Once in your diet, and you can have sweets, that's totally fine, but as long as it's just on the odd occasion.
So it's what you do away from the club which really separates you from being good to great. I know they're all excited about this program and what it entails, and I think they're more excited about playing against the old men out in the track this Arvo than actually listening to Hutch and I speak, but it was a good morning.
Girls, feel free to tackle your dads, hit your dads, push your dads, whatever you want. Yeah. Dads, no tackling the girls, no hurting them, they're my team. They're very precious to me, so no tackling them, all right?
So the father-son, father-daughter game is the most memorable part of our camp. The boys and the girls are going to take this opportunity to put their fathers back in their place and hopefully get a win.
And they're going to be struggling, all right?
Get the ball and run.
Get the ball and run.
Your ball movement is
right.
fantastic.
It's been great.
Well, I've had the dads contact me in the lead up and today as well, and they've been talking about some of the training they've done during the week, and I'll let you in on a secret. Brett Hetty did email me during the week and went for a kick with his son Josh, and he said that evening he couldn't get up the stairs at home. We get to play it out on Subiaco as well, which will bring back memories for some of the dads, but it's great for the kids to be able to play a game out on Subiaco against their parents, and it's certainly the highlight of the camp, and might be one of the last games played on Subiaco, so the kids will enjoy it.
All right, hands in the air on 3.
It's great that Ballpoint Construction Group support this event and have done for the last few years, and their support allows us to use Subiaco and kit the kids out in some fantastic gear and run an event over 2 days such as we are.
All right, son, 3 cheers for your dads, hey? Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Dads, 3 cheers for the kids. Hip. Hey, hip, hey, hip, hey.
What? They do wraps?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's new chicken wraps with bacon and avocado. Choose succulent tender crisp or flame grilled chicken breast. Try our 100% Aussie chicken breast wraps. Hungry Jack's, now delivering with menu log.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Leaderville Oval and thanks for watching the West Coast Eagles waffle stream of this game on a Thursday night. Round 6 action. It is all East Perth at the moment on the scoreboard, 7-4-46 to 3-3-21. And it is 2 goals to Dobson and the rest are singles and singles to the West Coast Eagles in Waterman. Also O'Neill and Matty Allen. The West Coast Eagles are out on the ground. Let's take a look at some Hungry Jacks highlights from the first half. Here they are, thanks to Hungry Jacks for their ongoing support of the West Coast Eagles and our live stream action.
They jumped out of the blocks in a flash, the Royals.
They did, and this is Hill. He was one of 6 goal kickers for East Perth. They've one multiple goal kicker. They just beat Subiaco in a lot of these sort of contested possessions and sort of caught them out the back a couple of times. This player, right, very good. He's got a lethal left boot. He didn't miss from there either.
Now, ducked around Acres with a bit of ease there, unfortunately, for the young defender, Jang. He was the recipient of a few free kicks in that centre bounce, and Dobson taking an easy mark inside forward 50 there against Harry Edwards.
Yeah, Jake Waterman, who has been omitted from the league team, of course, and is playing here. He tried hard. He didn't find much of it in the second quarter. That was just Paddy McGinnity at his very best, feigning for a free against Moodaba. And the veteran, former Eagle, of course, doing some good things as well. And this was a kick around the corner, of which Matty Allen, who this was his 3rd attempt from a similar area, had 2 at the other end of the ground. And this one, that was the only score West Coast for the quarter. And on numerous occasions, Steve Bandy, East Perth got out the back.
They did. You'd hate to see easy goals conceded, and this is in fact anything but, because a Jang put through one on a 45-degree angle from the boundary, spun like a genuine helicopter. But it won't matter in tomorrow's paper, Tim. They all look the same.
That is exactly what they do. Thanks to Hungry Jacks for those half-time highlights. Let's take a look at the stats. East Perth, Rowan Kerr, a former West Perth player, of course, spent a couple of years down at Pinjarras, had 13. Angus Scott from the KC Demons, 13. Nathan Blee, 2-time club champions, had 12. Mackenzie, 12. Jangs had 11. Hills had 11. And they're all the double figures. There's lots on 9, including Stanley Wright, McGuinness, the former Eagle, and Jackson Cale. Over to the West Coast Eagles, Andrew Fisher, who's one of the add-on players, has had 12, which is interesting. 11 to Ainsworth. Archie went a little quiet in that second quarter. It was good early. He's 10. Matty Allen, 9. Brady Gray, 9. And Mudama, who I think's tried hard down back, has had 9, and Foley has had 8.
I tried to go in the rooms at half-time, get a bit of a sense and feel as to what Luke...
How'd you go?
Webster, I got locked out. So it was a media blackout, and we were knocking on the door for several minutes. They obviously knew it was me and had no intention of answering. But what do you think the message was from Luke Webster to his troops, Tim?
I reckon start winning the ball and also try and stretch East Perth a little bit. It's a good call you make, Thump. Really was very predictable, and I think East Perth enjoyed that. They were easy to set up behind the ball. West Coast have got to try and stretch East Perth, and they've also got to, well, for the best part, try and switch the play. It was all on that far side of the ground for 2 reasons. 1, so they're closer for us to see them, and 2, East Perth just camped on the far side of the ground. So, yeah, look.
I agree, Tim. It's perfect conditions out there. The wind doing very little, and I think the wet ground has dissipated throughout the afternoon, so there's no excuses to piff this ball around back and forth, get a bit of ball movement, touch confidence from the back half, and start hitting some of those inside corridor targets when they appear.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So, look, it's not sheep stations and alarm bells ringing at the moment, but he wouldn't have been happy with just some of the ball movement. They were on the wrong end of a couple of dodgy decisions, which East Perth capitalised, but, you know, you can't blame umpires for this gap at the moment. It really is about possession. And the tackle count has always been worrying for West Coast. I think they've been very low on their tackle count at the moment, so they've just got to work harder around the contest. But we're underway for the second half. We're just waiting for...
I think this East Perth Waterboy just dawdling off the field in absolutely no hurry whatsoever. Have a look at this. There's 36 players waiting, and what is old mate doing down here?
He's just wandering at his leisure, wearing number 4 in the pink vest. Here we go. Thanks to Hungry Jacks. Here's the second half of our live stream. It is the West Coast Eagles and East Perth.
Round 6, Leaderville Oval, West Coast up against the Royals. Ruck tap, one out there from Bailey Williams, starting in the ruck. Handball over the top, O'Neill. McGinnity sweating him and wins out in the end. Mackenzie waxes well with Scott, takes a bounce on the near side wing, wants to drive it into the pocket. West Coast have the numbers. Rothen provides a quality third up spoil, and he sends the ball out of play. Bit too easy, that clearance there from the Royals.
And that's the issue. For a while there, West Coast started to get piece of the action in the middle of the ground, but that's not a great start.
You just feel the first goal, confidence-wise, so critical for this West Coast Eagles side. Umpire restart play 60 metres out from the Royals' goal. Ajang, Bailey Williams doing battle in the ruck. A big challenge for the young Eagle. First year on the list, obviously. McGinnity slinging tackle, hard stuff there.
That hurt.
At the bottom of that pack, is it Ainsworth? It is. He's well helped up from McGinnity, or in fact, bit argy-bargy. Don't mind that. Look at the face-off.
Ooh,
Give me more of it.
Yeah, that slow-mo showed him head hitting the ground there. That was as much as it wasn't a sling tackle, there was more in that than the one that the West Coast Eagles got penalised earlier.
Plenty of numbers around this footy. Williams wins out. McKenzie lays a bump on Archie. Brilliant pick up and collect there from Ainsworth, but he's claimed immediately. Umpire again will restart play.
That might be the spark that Ainsworth needs. Getting in and under, getting some hard ball, mixing it with someone like Paddy McGinnity, who's a war horse, and getting strong tackle and tackling strongly. It might be the lift that he needs.
Scott trying hard to get rid of it. He's collected from Ainsworth.
That's good.
West Coast unable to get this ball outside of their defensive half. Archie trying hard. Ball trickles out of play.
This is so much better from West Coast. I mean, East Perth has been able to get away from a lot of these stoppages in the first half. This is a lot more fight. There's a lot more aggression in this. East Perth aren't taking a backward step either. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
McGinnity loose here. Ajang can't find him. Scott ferrets inside. Handballs directly to Archie. Just slams it on the boot. Gets it out of there. Waterman front position, but a good spoil from Gorder. Lands right in the hands of McGinnity. A chance for the Royals. Blee. Here's the runner in Young. He decided to hang on to it. That's got to be gone.
Yeah.
Great tackle there from Cameron.
Should have given it Blee. He knows about it too. Here it is here. Had to give it, and chose not to.
Well, had the runner going inside 50 too.
Yeah, he knows about it. I think he knew when he was halfway through being dumped on the ground that he'd made an error.
Here we go. West Coast opting for the switch. First time up in their defensive half. Akers lowers the eyes, finds Rotham. He can go back again. Will they get a bit of side-to-side sway? Rotham opts to go for distance down the line. Waterman front position.
Much better. Much better. But switching the play, stretching East Perth. But this is now they've got to work their way through it. Maybe just a 25-metre kick or a hand pass.
Rotham provides an option, gets the give, drills it long. Good grab there from Brooksby. Wants to move it quick. Ainsworth lowers the eyes. This is what happens. Bit of quick forward movement from West Coast. Josh Smith's going to waltz into an open goal, and they've got the first for the second half.
Much better. Much better. What did it come from? It came from 3 or 4 minutes of hard work in the back 50 down here in front of the East Perth members. A switch of play, clean possession, big clunking mark from Waterman. Out back, get your runners running inside 50, turn the defensive round. They work through that. The whole process. Force the ball, don't give up easy possession, and then get them out the back. Well played, West Coast. Good start to the second half.
Absolutely loved the run of Rotham out the back half there, and the grab from Brooksby. They don't want to check his hands for illegal substances because that just stuck like absolute yoo-hoo glue.
Had a couple of chances early too, didn't he, in the first half, which he decked, so that would be good for his confidence.
Just tremendous play on the quick ball movement. Josh Smith with electric pace, running inside forward 50. Ajang. No chance. Let's hope the big East Perth ruckman got a bit of an empty tank after that frivolous chase, because he's going to come back into the centre, and Bailey Williams is going to do battle in the ruck. Good ball up. Williams wins out, but McGinnity the clearance. Hands it to Scott. Pumps it inside 50. Pack forms. Rotham. Good fist there on Semelko. Ainsworth collects, taken high. Umpire needs to square up this account. He's on to a good start.
I'm really liking Ainsworth. He was involved off the ball with McGinnity, then on the ball with McGinnity, then later good tackle himself. He's engaged in the game now. He had a quiet first half.
Pinpoint pass there from Edwards. Finds Rebillard. Bit of 1-2 with Archie. Lowers the eyes. Dart pass to Gray.
11 possessions now for Ainsworth, and I reckon he's had 3 or 4 in this quarter already, and we're only 4 minutes in. Good stuff.
McInnes the target. Goes in that direction. Just needs to make a contest as Big Fraser does so. Rudrum, good tackle. Hard stuff over the line. And we'll have a throw in.
Not too sure about Fraser's health at the moment. He seems to be carrying, I think, the left shoulder, maybe.
He's certainly got the size. Mismatch on Anderson. No wonder West Coast are looking to exploit that contest. Williams, desperate for front position, gets it. Matty Allen taken immediately by Blee. Umpire, free kick, high tackle, he says.
Yeah, it was there.
So the truck.
Hey, Steve, it's amazing when you get the ball and you have it in possession, how many times you'll get a free kick?
Hard to argue. Matty Allen has to kick to the contest. Big fly from Brooksby. That's his second contested grab of the half.
Couldn't find one in the first half. Could not draw a mark, and he's taken a couple in this quarter. Much better start to his second half.
Big Tony Orlango couldn't do much on that occasion. And could Brooksby ignite the Eagles in this second half?
Nice to have a target, isn't it? Now he's just got to connect.
The big fella's going to set sail from just inside of the painted 50. Comes back, beautiful draw on the footy. He's put it through. The Eagles, 2 quick goals in the opening 6 minutes.
It was a beautiful draw, but I'm not too sure whether it was a very good kick. But you know what? Once again, we'll look in the paper tomorrow, and it will be down as a goal. Good footy, quick movement, get it on quick. And I think Anderson was trying to get back, of course, for East Perth, but he had size. Have a look at the drop and the float of the ball. Yeah, no, not a great kick at all, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We see a goal. So back-to-back goals. This is a very good start, and he's pushed forward and he's trying to stretch their defence. I'm liking the setup. They've made some good changes here, Luke Webster and West Coast, so they're back in the ball game. Kick a couple of goals. I'm liking it.
Hey, if this is the start they have to most halves, you can have a media bandy lockout anytime you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you shouldn't get in anyway.
I actually just need to use the toilet, to be perfectly honest.
You're not dressed accordingly. What are you wearing?
It's going to be a long second half for Bands. As we go back into the centre. Williams still in the ruck, looks for the back tap. It's going to work. Allen just slams it on the boot. It's going to land at centre half forward. Hug just needs to put a spoil in, does so. He follows up, good little quick kick forward. Matty Allen needs to shrug the tackle, has a runner on the outside, and Ainsworth fumbles at the critical moment. He's claimed. Blind handball on the inside. Cahill collects, and West Coast unable to find a target inside 50 on that occasion.
Question on Facebook, why isn't Brooksby a chance to be in for the ruck job at the moment? Well, at the moment, Vardy has got that job, and being held out was interesting. Tom Hickey not playing tonight.
Didn't know it was a Q&A session as Young. Beautiful pick up there for East Perth.
I'm happy.
Drives it down the middle. It's a one-on-one contest. It's Dobson v Akers. Wraps up Dobson. Handball to the feet of his teammate. They've butted up well here. McGinnity back feet. Oh, tough handle there from Arbin. Ainsworth quick to mop up. A terrific possession gain there from West Coast. Umpire waves them on. Has to go. Numbers for East Perth. Oh, the big fly there from Ajang. Umpire says a free kick.
No, he's paid the mark.
Has he really?
He's paid the mark to East Perth when Jackson Cale got paid the mark when Ajang just cleaned up the rest of the group. It didn't touch the ball.
Ajang's still in the air, I reckon. That was a monster leap from behind for the East Perth ruckman as Scott holds possession here at centre half back for the Royals. Got a bit excited there. Got to calm it down in the box, I think, especially for the opposition. Short kick. Finds Anderson. East Perth methodically out the back half. Loose man on the outside. Here we go. A chance to attack. This is Kerr on the left boot. Tough kick, but it might work for Dobson. He's been their main focal point to the top of the square. Terrific spoil there from Archie. Eagles just need to flush this one over the line. They do so. Saving spoil there for Archie. I thought Ajang was going to gobble that up.
Yeah, totally agree with you. He had to get a hand in there. So well done to Brendan Archie, working hard in the back half. This is better from Eagles. I reckon their work rate's just completely lifted since half time. I reckon the coaching staff would be absolutely pleased. East Perth have still got a handy lead, so there's no point unravelling all your good work now.
Munimer finds Archie. He delivers to Reed, still on the back flank for the West Coast Eagles.
Is that North Beach?
Of course it is. I'm surprised he didn't wear the mighty twisty outfit on the telecast. Ball goes over the back of all intended targets there. It's going to be North. Umpires found a free kick going in the direction of West Coast.
Yeah, Cameron for a hold.
Good to see Cameron back in this lineup. Missed the one game and then the state by in between with a bit of a wrist injury. So we see on replay, Rudrum just hanging on a little bit there. Cameron tempted for the switch, but in the end, wants to go long down the line. No one getting a hand on it. The boundary line wins out.
Just starting to sense that East Perth are on the back foot at the minute. Looks like they're being challenged physically, and the game is certainly starting to turn. They'll be looking at the scoreboard. They wouldn't have been happy giving up these first 2 goals of the second half, but I'm just liking the West Coast Eagles' work rate.
Still a 14-point lead in favour of the home side, the Royals. Of course, West Coast playing very little home games in the 2019 season. Ball trickling out to McKenzie on the back flank. In the end, a relieving defensive kick. It's called out of play.
No way.
West Coast will take it. You got a good view from up here, Tim.
Mate, I'm telling you, that was not out of bounds, and that's a let-off for West Coast because they can set up at this left half forward flank. Not too sure we'll be able to see a replay of it. The boundary umpire's very confident in his call.
Have a look at this defensive structure that West Coast. I know you can't see it on screen, but East Perth have 2 loose numbers almost at centre half forward. West Coast playing the interceptor further up the ball as they equal out now East Perth. Or this was the loose man for West Coast, and Fisher can't take it. Good contest there from East Perth in Horton. Able to bring it to ground. Umpire's going to ping him, holding the footy.
A lot of people asking where's Chris Marston. He's not here tonight, of course. He's not playing in this game, and he's certainly not playing tomorrow night.
Horton can go back to Orlango rather, if he chooses so. He will do second thoughts. He's in about 40 different minds at the moment. In the end, let's kick for distance, he says. Archie, uncontested, flies across the pack. Takes the easy mark.
Well played by Brooksby on that occasion too, to keep a Jang off that ball to allow Archie to take the uncontested grab.
The switch was on. Umpire says not the required. So Foley just has to get rid of it. Risky kick. Needs to keep his feet. He doesn't. In the end, Dobson quickly onto this one. Sends it to the top of the goal square. Good spoil there from Munimer. Loose footy at the top of the square. Who's going to act? Blee has it. The umpire's blown his whistle. Have they paid advantage?
Yes, they have. It's a goal.
They have indeed. Goal for the Royals.
Yeah, a couple of times East Perth made a meal of that, and there was a couple of loose balls where the West Coast Eagles had a chance. I thought Dobson almost should have had a shot for goal. He squared it up here on the replay. Mudima, I would have gone the punch. He tried to go for the mark. Probably not the best move in there as well. And there it is here, and the umpire blew the whistle and paid a free kick. Jake Williams was arguing the toss, but at the end of the day, Blee just played on and kicked the goal. So a good steadier for East Perth. Looking at that replay, and I think Mudima has played a good game tonight, he would have much been better off trying to punch the ball through for a minor score rather than outmark from behind. A pretty basic thing, I reckon.
Well, the kick across the field, Goss, the switch, he was called to play on. Was it Ainsworth that had to get rid of that ball? I can't remember. On the back flank, was told to play on, and on that occasion, you've just got to go long down the line because the switch kick didn't pay dividends.
He's been a good servant for the footy club. Nathan Blee, of course, came through the Balladura Juniors and was, as I said, mentioned on was on the Port Adelaide list for a while.
Umpire back into the centre. Good hit out from Semelko. McGuinness, little toe poke to centre half forward. Fisher provides a good wrap-up tackle on Blee, able to get it out to Arbin. Sends a high ball. Young going to take it on the chest.
It's steady, East Perth.
Wants to reel around. Puts it to centre half forward. Rebillard needs to hold his ground. Does that. McKenzie collects. Goes through traffic. Blind handball. Magro tries to burst through the pack. Can't on that occasion. Akers wraps him up. Fisher burrows in. He's well taken. The umpire says, I'll ball it up, fellas.
East Perth have got a couple of numbers out the back. Brady Gray is out the back, sort of the backside of this. There's 20 players around this stoppage.
Horton v Brooksby in the ruck. Mutimer on that right foot. Don't know how many of those he has in a calendar year, but Cameron taking the easy chest mark.
No Jared Brand either out there too, so a lot of West Coast Eagles players are being rested.
Mutimer wants to concede ground to Rotham. They're going to try a different avenue of attack on the outer side. This is Riak. Young Brody Riak, Category B rookie. Just 7 years ago was his first AFL, or was his first football game until picking up a Sharon this year. Fantastic effort. Nick Reed, foot race with Rudram on the outside. Needs to hold his ground as Nick Reed. In the end, the boundary wins out, and he'll take that.
Angus Scott, 15 disposals for East Perth. Rowan Kerr's had 13. Shaquille McKenzie's had 13. And Nathan Bleed, 12, and kicked the last goal. For the West Coast Eagles, Archie, 13. Fisher, 12. 11 to Ainsworth, and 10 to Matty Allen.
Umpire brings it in. Brooksby, a little tap over the back, but it's all East Perth. Kerr sharks it well. They're going to concede ground with the switch. The foot race is on. Here we go. McKenzie leads in the race. Breaks through the Williams tackle. Plays it safe. They've gone all the way back to the defensive goal square, the Royals. The kick to Cahill is sloppy. Can't keep it in. And the ball is out of play.
That was good by West Coast because East Perth were, well, I thought McKenzie erred. I thought he should have come this side, but he decided to go back across his own goal face. It looks like they've started to try to shut down Ainsworth now with Jackson Cahill, the boy from Naranda. So they might be thinking that Ainsworth could be the difference here for West Coast.
Williams tries to butter up his own ruck work. Nick Reed at the foot of the ball. Can't collect cleanly. Trickles out. McGinnity's got it. Fakes the handball. Just gets boot to Bob. It's the deck. East Perth with numbers. This is right.
Too easy.
He's going to go down the wing. McKenzie's got a yard on his opponent in Cameron. Provides good defensive pressure, and he wins the footy in the end, Cameron. Look at the inboard pass. That is pinpoint. Finds Fisher. They want to move it quickly here, West Coast. Puts his teammate under the pump. Little hack kick forward. Anderson read it best. Little deft throw to Blee. Scrappy footy here. Wright can't collect. The pressure's high at the moment for both sides. Here we go. Little chip kick forward, and Waterman has to work very wide for a chance to this one, but he'll line up for a shot about 55 metres out for the Eagles.
Not too sure where the kick came from. It might have been Kalazic. I'm not too sure here in this replay. This loose ball. Clever deft touch. Yeah, it was Kalazic, and it was a nice kick and got it out to the dangerous Waterman, who's the leading mark taker on the ground. He's taken 7 marks in this game, going for his second goal.
As we've spoken about, the leading goal kicker for the West Coast Eagles side. Makes him so much of a potent attack when he's in the team. That's a high shot on goal from Jakey Waterman. It's smacked into the woodwork as the post continues to sway into the breeze, and it's a minus score for the West Coast Eagles.
That's their first point since quarter time, so they've been fairly accurate. All single goal kickers: Allen, Brooksby, O'Neill, Smith and Waterman, and Dobson's the only multiple goal kicker in the game. He's got 2 for the Royals.
19-point lead to the home side as Cahill goes long. Edwards can't get a run of it. Oh, is that taken? No, the umpire's called play on. Brooksby thinks it's a mark. Works around Semelko. Nimble stuff from the big man. Puts it to full forward, but Anderson had position on Williams. Takes the stifling defensive mark.
He's been around the club for a long, long time. He's been a loyal servant of this football club. Anderson, well over 100 games.
Goes short to the pocket. Cahill takes on Reed. Works. Bit of a floating ball to the wing, though. Edwards arrives. Paddles it to himself and eventually over the line.
Not surprised that Brooksby's coming off. His work rate's really lifted in this second half. He's taken 3 marks. I thought that was a mark. I thought he was pretty unlucky, but he still worked it out. He didn't rest on his laurels. He got it in deep. Fraser McInnes now coming back onto the ground.
Good work there from Harry Edwards, just having a little wrestle with a Jang, and for a moment he forgot he had to take part in this ruck contest. Mental win there for the Eagles. As McInnes locks arms with the Jang.
Shallow throw in.
Very much been happening all day. Magro collects. Driving ball into the middle of the ground. Big contest here. Fisher keeps his feet. Can give to Smith. Just puts it out into space, and why wouldn't you? One of the quickest on the Eagles list. Wright's wearing it well. Clever tap on the inboard to Kalazic. Now goes to Ainsworth. Retreats ground. Smith. They don't want to give it up here, West Coast. Fisher, this is the critical ball now. Inside 50. Long lead from McInnes. Can't get to him. Ball in dispute. Gray works in hard for it, as too does the Royals. Good wrap-up tackle from Gray. And they're going to have a ball up inside their attacking 50.
Yeah, good stoppage here. East Perth under a bit of pressure. They've got the last goal of the game, East Perth, but West Coast can respond here. McGinnity and Gray going at it off the ball.
Throw a blanket over about 20 players here inside the 50. Ajang rises high. But in the end, there's just no room to operate. In the back, the umpire says.
That's not in the back. That's McGinnity diving forward with possession of the ball, and the tackles, he's hanging on, and he drags the bloke who's got the tackle into his back.
Well, they might have reversed it for a minute there. McGinnity puts it into the path of Kerr. Smith wears him tightly. East Perth been very sloppy with their exits in the back half. West Coast, pressure. They need to keep providing that kind of pressure to lock it in.
Absolutely, it does. Look at those people up on the hill there with the blankets. They are die-hard Waffle fans, I reckon.
All 3 of them. Pleasure to see.
That's 4. One bloke sitting on his own. No friends, a bit like me.
Throw in. Won't argue with you, Tim. Ball goes back to Kerr. Check side, long down the line. It's all Fisher or out on the full. The latter prevails. We've played 19 minutes here. Still the 19-point lead in favour of the Royals. West Coast will want to chip into this lead just a little bit, I think, heading into the final change. Ball inside 50. Cahill fists it high into the air. Gray avoids one tackle. Claimed in the second. Reed, quick kick forward. Bounces, critical touch there from Gorda. Ball goes over the top. Simple goal from West Coast.
Pressure.
They're still under the pump here. In pops Ainsworth. Left foot snap kick. That would have been one of the goals of the day, but misses to the near side.
Yeah, he was good, but I reckon there was a hand pass. He could have given one more hand pass. I don't like the overuse of the footy. But he was under enormous pressure, so it was a thinking man's moment. And yeah, they can't afford to give up a goal here, West Coast. They've got the momentum, albeit East Perth kicked the last goal of the game.
East Perth want to move it quickly. They do. Arbin, he's got a runner outside here. This is McGuinness. If he can gather, it's a simple goal from West Coast. Great effort there from Brodie Riak. The cavalry revives in time for West Coast. Lowers the eyes, and that is a brilliant piece of defensive work from Brodie Riak.
Yeah, it is, and that's a terrible kick inside by Hug. That is a really bad miss.
Or almost 50. I thought Smith knocked the ball out of his hands there. Blee still wants to move it in a hurry. The kick is dangerous. Brady, great. Terrific intercept flying across the pack.
They're out here.
Hands to Williams. Ainsworth, can he find a target? He can.
Free kick.
It's coming back. Oh, advantage G. All East Perth defenders stop. Massive opportunity here for West Coast. Munimer sends it long. Cameron with 2 to beat. Can he keep his feet? East Perth under the pump. West Coast with the numbers if they can work this out. Brooksby wants to have a shot on goal. Snaps it back. Can't do so. Minor score. Gee, the kick from Hug, says Anna half back, was adventurous at best, Tim.
Couple of posters that hit the post, that Brooksy. That's a good mark by Brady Gray. That was a dangerous kick by East Perth, and they almost capitalised West Coast. They're coming, East Perth, but they would like to be, I reckon, 1 goal closer with 3/4 time just around the corner.
East Perth just want to clear this out of their defensive half. They drive it to the wing. Pack forms, numbers. Plenty of them around this contest. Rebillard wins out with a hard footy, though. Little dab pass. Munimer searching hard contact below the knees.
Yep, that's what he's
definitely there.
17 disposals to Archie, 16 to Ainsworth. Has a very good quarter. Fisher 16 and the truck Matty Allen 14. Brady Gray 12.
It was Kolasich, I think, on the mark there. Just the contact below the knees in terms of just trying to win the hard footy, but that rule preventing the snapped in half leg. As East Perth want to go down the line. Fisher had front position, couldn't take it in. Rotham's claimed. Not much of a chance to get rid of it. The umpire will ball it up.
38 hit-outs to 17 West Coast way. Tackle count starting to level up. Still very much in East Perth's favour, though. 44-32. Inside 50s. West Coast 29, East Perth 25. There are Hungry Jacks stats.
Big moments here as we enter the shadows of 3/4 time. East Perth with a clearance on this occasion. Kerr. Handball down the line, right, can he collect? Handballs to himself, keeps it in wonderfully there, right. He's going to put it to the dangerous area. Dobson's got the sit, takes it, plays on immediately, goal East Perth.
He's got 3. He's got 3. He doesn't look like a bloke who wants to work that hard up the ground. He's a big rig, he's got the long sleeves on. That was quick transference of play. It was very good by Wright. This is clever. I don't think the Eagles would like to see that again. They had to get him over the boundary line to work in that space against 2 West Coast Eagles and deliver a ball to the top of the square. That was costly. Back to 23 points. That's exactly what West Coast didn't want, but hats off to East Perth. They're hanging tough, the Mighty Royals.
We saw West Coast put through 3 goals in their time on against South Fremantle before the strokes of half-time, Tim. They're going to have to produce something very similar now, as we know that East Perth might try and lock things down in the late goings here, and West Coast needs to take the game on at every opportunity to start eating into this lead.
He's kicked a goal in every quarter has Mitch Dobson.
He really has been the main focal point for this East Perth attack. Horton taking a bit of a back seat today as the ball goes back into the centre. Ainsworth a chance, lays a tackle. Williams follows up well, but can't pick it up cleanly. Ainsworth again, head over it. Scott looming. Ainsworth trying to wrestle it away from him, does in the end, but it's going to work against him. Gerard Cameron, beautiful tackle from behind against Wilcox. Umpire said he had no prior. Rebillard finds Ainsworth. Kick inside 50. Big contest. Who else but Keegan Brooksby with a fantastic contested grab.
Whatever he has had at half-time, he needs to have all the time. He has dominated in the air. That's his 3rd official mark. I reckon he's had 4. They've been contested. They've been strong. He's already kicked a goal in this quarter. And that man who got the ball on the boot to him, Ainsworth, hats off to the young man. He was revved up early by McGinnity. He's responded strongly.
No doubt. A big shot on goal. Oh, and he's absolutely sprayed it to the right.
Give the man a pump up and do it to you every single time. Conditions, not a breath of wind. It might start to get a little dewy at the moment. It's pretty chilly, so it'll be interesting to see if the players can hold their ball and hold their feet.
Big opportunity missed from the West Coast Eagles. Bailey Williams, though, steps in front of Ajang on this occasion, takes the intercept. He assesses the options, goes long. Large pack forms. It's all East Perth that fly. Ball flies out the back, and in the end, a rush behind.
I thought Matty Allen had read the play beautifully. He was almost too close to the pack on this occasion. A couple of people on Facebook asking us whether Ainsworth's ready for an AFL call-up. I think he needs more of this. He's only really got involved in the game probably in this second half. He needs more of these quarters of football to put his hand up, I would imagine. A couple of weeks at this level, playing in this type of form, he might be a chance.
Williams, good spoil, brings the ball to ground. O'Neill, wonderful little feint there. Has an avenue towards centre-half forward. Waterman flies. He's at ground level, doing it all. Jake Waterman. Handball inside, looking for Hug. Needs to get boots of ball. Can't do it. And West Coast desperately close again, but here's another opportunity. O'Neill, what can he do on this occasion? Snaps it forward. Waterman had hands on it, can't take it. East Perth just bombing it out of their defensive half. Get it out of there, they say. Oh, and Ajang takes a mark into the nest of West Coast Eagles. Big contested grab, that one.
That was a very, very good mark. They were enormous pressure. West Coast are threatening. And to get a goal, a much-needed one, can't be long before we hear the siren. So I think East Perth will be happy to run it down here with this handy lead. They've added 2 goals in this quarter. West Coast have also added 2 goals, and I reckon they should add 5.
Cahill kicks. Couldn't tell you who to.
Ainsworth.
It certainly wasn't Ainsworth, the intended target. He'll take it. Wants to go inboard. Needs to go over Arbin. It just does. Smith able to collect. Here's Mutimer. Oh, what a shame. The siren wins out. Don't think McInnes would have been on the end of that one. And West Coast miss an opportunity for a late goal.
9-5-59 to 5-8-38. 21 points to lead to East Perth. So they've held sway at all the changes so far. Thanks to Hungry Jacks. Let's take a look at the goal kickers as we go into the final change. And it is certainly East Perth's Dobson 3. He's got a goal in each quarter. Ajang, Blee, Hill, McGinnity, McKenzie and Wright. And all single goal kickers for the West Coast Eagles. And they are Allen, Brooksby, should have had 3, O'Neill, Smith and Waterman. 21 points to the Royals. West Coast with some work to do. This is the West Coast Eagles live stream of Waffle Action Thursday night at Leederville Oval. Thanks to Hungry Jacks.
Is there anything better than Hungry Jack's thick cut chips?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's large chips for just $2.
Or a cheesy cheeseburger for $2 and a nuggets and chips carry cup only $3. Penny pinchers everyday value at Hungry Jack's.
In 2019, you'd think there wouldn't be any racism, but I still get comments.
So Oliver was born in South Korea. He was 4 months old exactly the day we met him, and then we brought him home.
I was about 3 years old when I got my first footy. I used to always kick it with my dad and grandpa, and then I decided to join Auskick with my friends. I love playing with my mates. There's one in particular I really love playing with, is my friend EJ. He's always there to support me, so if I'm down or something, he'll say, keep playing, or like if he sees that I'm walking, he'll get me to run, and he just keep encouraging me. I used to get racist comments and it used to put me off. I didn't really understand, but I knew it wasn't very nice. And when I started playing Auskick, I never really got many racist comments. I only really started getting them until I was like year 4. And then when I moved up to like 7s and 8s and stuff, I was getting pretty bad comments and it was affecting my game. I didn't really want to play footy at all because I used to get it pretty much every game. But Dad said, don't listen to them and use it as motivation to keep playing. And then as time went on, I just ignored it. But then now I've figured out a way to control it and use it as motivation to play harder and better. This one time, this kid said, you're Asian and you shouldn't be playing footy, you can't see, go hit like the math books or something. And I was like pretty fired up after that. Later on in the game, I saw the ball come over his head. I'm like, oh, I'm not letting this one go. So I took a massive hanger on his head. Gave me a bit of respect after that. It was good, and I won't forget it. It's important for me to shake hands and show them that I'm the bigger person, and then whatever stays in the field stays in the field and it doesn't affect me. I joined the Nat Nui Academy in 2017 when my friends from school said, come play this lightning carnival that's happening. When I met Drew the first time, I was pretty nervous because he just retired and he was an AFL player. And I was like pretty hyped to see him, and it was pretty cool for him to be my coach. One of the highlights for me was probably playing at Optus Stadium. Thought, oh, this is what every game feels like. It'd be amazing to step on the field and you're excited to play. And when I played with the Academy and the All Nations, I felt more comfortable because I knew they wouldn't judge because they're from different backgrounds and they've got their own story as well. And that there's other people that also get comments and you're not by yourself. WA All Nations was a big turning point for me in footy. Gained more confidence and realised that if you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you want. I learnt to be happy who I am and be proud of my heritage. I hope my story shows that bullying isn't okay and you shouldn't get bullied for playing a sport that you want to have fun and that you love. To anyone who gets picked on, try not to react. I've made the mistakes of reacting, it's not worth it. Just use it as motivation to train harder and play better and you'll win.
What? They do wraps?
Yeah, Hungry Jack's new chicken wraps with bacon and avocado. Choose succulent tender crisp or flame grilled chicken breast. Try our 100% Aussie chicken breast wraps. Hungry Jack's, now delivering with menu log.
Welcome back. Luke Webster talking to his East Perth players, and they've got a bit of work to do. At the back of that pack, of course, is Nick Natanui. There's East Perth with their man, Jeremy Barnard, who was a long-time East Perth man, of course, and brother of Paul.
Can't throw the boots to Natanui at this stage, can you, at three-quarter time?
Yeah, well, I think that's not their problem at the moment. Let's take a look at some Hungry Jacks highlights coming out of that third quarter, and the West Coast Eagles had various chances to really pull this lead back. And they got the early one. Archie continued on his good form, and this was out the back. This came about from just sheer hard work, and good to see Josh Smith on the end of it. There was a free kick and umpire pay advantage. Blee's been good. Good switch of play for West Coast. Now, this is something they don't want to look at here. Stanley Wright working in the confines of the boundary line, and Dobson's kicked three, one in each term. He has been the difference so far. And Ainsworth had an outstanding quarter. Brooksby took this big mark, but the sad part is he missed the shot on goal. A couple of really nice marks, and there is another one for East Perth in Jang. They are the Hungry Jack highlights. Tim Gossage and Stephen Bandy providing all the commentary. And there is the West Coast players breaking up. I see Nathan Van Berlo down there as well.
All the assistant coach from West Coast having a look. It's unfortunate to see Stanley Wright set up that last goal for the Royals, because quite clearly Josh Rotham hasn't done any poisoning of his food in the household that they share in, so the messages have not been passed along, and Stan Wright looks in tip-top nick.
Thanks for all your comments on Facebook. Of course, streaming on Facebook and on the YouTube, and there's lots of people. We've got people in Thailand, we've got people in Chile, people in the States watching on the other side of the country, in Dongas in Karratha, and of course right around the metro area, we're watching on their tablets, on their phone, whatever they're watching. I hope you're enjoying it. This is something we're doing here at the West Coast Eagles. We'll be live streaming all of our waffle games, so that is absolutely brilliant. But don't be afraid. Get along and support the West Coast Eagles in the waffle, because there's some fine young talent. And as we're seeing tonight, there's some good talent in the opposition as well, and there's one of them. There's the beautiful city of Perth in the backdrop right there. Beautiful night, a little chilly. We're underway, last quarter, East Perth in front by 21.
Here we go, 21-point lead in favour of the Royals. West Coast desperate to get the first on the board. Matty Allen burrows in after this footy. Umpire circling, Brady Gray tries to get the clearing kick. In the end, Blee does so for the Royals. Bouncing ball to half forward. Horton leads out. Edwards wearing him, Ainsworth, high tackle. Umpire saw every bit of it. It's going the way of McGinnity.
He's the master of getting a tackle, isn't he?
Well, speaking of which, he's actually earned 10 free kicks to 0 in the 2019 season, so shock me dead. High ball, Rotham.
He's got 5 tonight for 0 too.
Spoil, a chance here for the Royals. Dobson able to shirk the tackle. Handball inside, the tackle is high. And again, a couple of free kicks to the Royals. Oh, here we go. It's spilling over a little bit here in the pocket.
Kick,
you don't want to give 50 away, because it's going to be a tough shot here for Young. Don't be silly, boys.
He hasn't had a big night, Young, either. He's a talent, they do believe. He made his waffle debut in the elimination round 21 last year, should I say. They reckon he's a 150 gamer, and he's got similarities around the contest to that of Tim Kelly.
Is that right?
That's what they're telling me. I'm only passing it on.
For the perfect start for the Royals. This will make it tough for the Coasties, but he's missed to the near side.
Tim Kelly would have kicked that. No disrespect.
22 points is the margin. Opening minute here of the final quarter.
Overall stats, 21 disposals to Kerr. Angus Scott, Nathan Blee's got 19. Ainsworth leads for West Coast. He's got 19. And Brendan Archie's got 18.
Mutimer. Short delivery to Rotham. Wants to come to the broadcast side. Edwards with the one-hander. That was tidy stuff from the youngster. This is in his first year for the West Coast Eagles. Kicks into the man on the mark. Somehow lands in the second slip. Arms in Brady Gray. Umpire doesn't call for ball like the crowd was asking for. Scott picks up. Has avenue for attack inside forward 50. It's gone well over heel, and Semelko had zero chance of retrieving it. Ball out of play, left forward pocket.
Don't know who's doing the stats, but didn't Keegan Brooksby take 3 marks in that quarter?
Aren't you doing the stats?
Well, they've marked him down for 2. Total.
Robbed. Maybe he took one away after the shot on goal. Umpire hurls it back into play. Brooksby, big third quarter regardless. Matty Allen tried hard all night, bangs it outside. Oh, hard crunching hit there. Fraser McInnes, he's come up a bit sore, but it was a quality hit from there from the skipper. But it's all East Perth with the numbers behind the footy. Cahill has a plethora of options, wants to go wide. He finds Kerr.
Jang struggling behind play, looks very ginger at the moment on the defensive 50.
Little dab over the top to right, wants to move it quickly to centre half forward. Bouncing off the chest of Horton. Unable to collect, but does so in the end. McGinnity, back feed. The Royals happy to retreat, gain possession here. Josh Smith can't close down Rudrum. Have to close up all avenues. Time not on their side at this point, the West Coast Eagles. Rudrum lowers the eyes. Spearing kick, strong hands from Hilly. Plays on immediately. Wants to go to the pocket. It's all Horton. And he takes it 45 metres out. Tough angle for the East Perth to start putting this lead a little bit too far in the distance for West Coast.
Fraser McInnes looking like he's getting a bit of treatment too. I reckon he's struggling with that shoulder.
I don't think that hit on the broadcast side did him any favours, Tim.
Yeah, they're trying to get out to him at the moment.
Houghton, Horton, however you want to pronounce it at home. He's lining up, quiet evening, but a chance to put through the one that matters for the Royals. Makes no mistake. That's straight through the middle. East Perth skip away here at Leederville Oval.
Yeah, that's not what West Coast wanted, and Joel's pretty happy with himself, and they're celebrating like they've already won the game. They want to be just a little bit mindful of that, but they have probably done enough at the moment. Here it is here in replay. Hilly has done a very good job. He's used the ball well, and that's a mark in the pocket. It was always tough, but they kicked a couple from out there. But, of course, they train at this venue, so they probably have a better feel for it. And, yep, Joel Houghton, of course, was on the Dockers list briefly, played at the Perth Football Club, and his sister plays in the AFLW competition. So it all runs in the family. That's not what West Coast wanted, no doubt about that. 10-8-68 to 5-8-38, so they're 5 goals down. 10-6-66. So really 5 goals they need. They need to double their goal scoring output in 20 minutes.
28-point lead. West Coast are going to have to get a bit of a hurry on. A flurry of goals needed at this point. Loose footy in the middle. Gray collects. Gives to Hug. Good tackle there from Wilcox in his waffle debut. Umpire pings him holding the ball. They've been tremendous in the tackling department this evening, East Perth. Credit where credit's due. McKenzie has it on the wing. Short pass to McGinnity. Not sure why Brooksby's picking him up.
51 tackles to 34. It is a pretty damning stat, really.
McGinnity plays on off the mark. Wants to drive it. Long to the flank. Front position. Well collected there, Rotham. West Coast unable to handball it in Matty Allen, so East Perth can collect. Fisher had to have eyes only for the ball charged through. He does just that.
He's not out of place at this level, is he?
No, played, I think, every game or the majority of games for this season. Wants Brooksby on the wing.
Mark.
Terrific grab. Had the size on McGinnity.
He's been one real positive since half-time.
Rebillard loose on the wing. Ainsworth dragged his opponent to that man. So Brooksby, no choice but to go long down the line. Yeah. Pack forms.
Yang off the ground injured.
Few high flyers there for both sides. Waterman emerges with it. Williams can't handle the footy. Handball to Hug. Here we go. West Coast need to lower the eyes. Ainsworth just drills it in long. He's fighting hard in there, Smith. Had a few to beat. Good tackle there from O'Neill and Smith. Ball trickles out. Orlango needs to find the target. Can't. Deliberate, says the crowd. Wouldn't have thought so. Throw in at forward 50 for the Eagles.
No, not at all. But that's better from West Coast, and it all came about from a big clutch mark on the wing by Brooksby, who's standing a big kick behind play at the moment. He has certainly put in a fantastic effort since half-time.
East Perth clearly flooding numbers.
It's rubbish.
Very shallow throw in.
Another one.
Foley can't handle the footy. Ainsworth battled hard all night. Allen put Muter under the pump. East Perth collects, string of handballs, work it nicely. McKenzie just bombs it long down the wing. One-on-one contest, no numbers between Dobson and the goals. Foot races on. React leading it, ball sits for him. Dangerous handball, puts Akers under pressure. East Perth through Hilly. If he finds a target, it's trouble. And it's Wright who reciprocates for the Royals.
I think Akers needed to just swat the ball away. Didn't need to take possession. He did have a teammate just to his left. Probably didn't see him. He was under enormous pressure. Probably, here it is here. There, right here, he would have been tapping it over the back to the big fella in Harry Edwards. So Harry should have been providing plenty of voice, I reckon. Tap it to me, tap it to me.
Plenty of youth out there for West Coast. Just his second game in this West Coast lineup. Daniel Akers.
He can kick a long ball. This
right. Lining up for his second of the evening. Makes no mistake. And East Perth extend their lead here in the fourth term.
Yep, celebrating now, and so they should, because they're going to be very hard to pull back from here. And he's been a good player tonight. Has Stanley, of course, you've mentioned a couple of times, the housemate of Joshy Rotham. Having a look at his night so far, well, he's kicked the 2 goals, which is an outstanding effort. He's had the 15 disposals, so that's pretty good output from Stanley Wright. And he did set up another goal too down the other end. He's pretty happy with himself.
Loved every bit of it. Why wouldn't announce his second?
He's the player that I mentioned pre-game that Luke Webster really rated, that if all things being equal, he could really make a stamp at this level in waffle footy. And he said he works hard and he's got a lethal left boot.
Disappointing start to this fourth quarter for West Coast, but a chance to at least gain some pride back. You'd think the lead is getting a little bit too far out of reach for this Eagles side. We have only played 8 minutes here in the fourth, but a monster mountain to climb.
Biggest lead of the game.
At this point in time, Brooksby wins it down. Smith comes off the wing, smothered. East Perth will collect. Lands in the arms of Hilly. Set up the last goal, brings it back to Arbin. Comes back on the outer side. A chance here. East Perth are going to line up for another top of the goal square. Good fist there from Fisher holding front position. And he's going to win the free kick for the Eagles.
Made a change there, I reckon. Fisher's was standing on Dobson, who's been good. 3 goals tonight.
Gallops out of full back does Fisher. Brooksby 2v1, makes a good contest. Ball in dispute. Picked up by Semelko, finds McGinnity. Rotham lays a good tackle. Ball spills out. Rebillard collects. Archie, floating handball to Cameron. They're linking up well here, West Coast. Waterman needs to be precise. In the end, Reid not taking the ball out in front. And a quality spoil there from Anderson.
22 players out on the ground tonight that have played 10 games or less. So, and that's from both teams. It's about even. I think there might be 10 Eagles that have played 10 games or less, including their top-up players. And East Perth are also fairly inexperienced. And I've enjoyed the standard of the game. I've been very impressed with East Perth's commitment. They've been very, very strong around the footy.
Throw in. Brooksby.
No.
Simple.
No.
Umpires paid the free kick, though, pushing the back.
Yeah, well, Keegan Brooksby's going to argue the toss here, and I reckon he's got a point. I mean, really, must have made the most of it, that East Perth Semelko. Free kick count will be, again, I'd like to get that stat if I can.
Arbin must have B all over him because he had acres of room inside the square there. On the check side, boot from Young. That's too easy from the Royals.
It's unravelling now at West Coast. And if you go, have a look at all these East Perth players and you go back to the middle, there's about 6 or 7 West Coast players who are standing there thinking, oh, gee, that ball got down there quick. Yeah, it's getting beaten around the contest now, and again, the rub of the green's not going their way with their umpiring, but that's not going to help you claw your way back into this game. This is a massive lead, and if anyone had come to this game tonight thinking East Perth would be 40 points up against the West Coast Eagles, would be very surprised. Head-to-head, the market was very distorted. It was very one-way. West Coast were very much the odds-on favourites to win this game, but East Perth have certainly, well, they've led at every change so far. They've been very impressive.
They have, and they've done so without their two prolific ball winners in Jackson Ramsey and, of course, the ex-Eagle and Collingwood Premiership player and Sharrod Wellingham missing this evening's battle.
Wellingham was training out on the ground before the game, apparently.
Really?
And Ramsey saw from the state game.
Matty Allen able to collect with the handball, with the free kicks coming back. It's Arbon's ball. East Perth commanding position here in the fourth term. Arbon wants to go to centre half forward. Just straight off the boot from West Coast. Pifford all the way back. Reed can't take the mark. This is O'Neill. Didn't know which direction to go to in the end. Just flies the handball out to the wing. And East Perth collect. Anderson, like a rugby try, dives over the line. No points to you, but a throw in instead. .40 lead to the home side. Of course, West Coast taking on Swan Districts next Saturday, Tim.
Yep, up there at Black Duck Park. They've been cleaner with the ball, haven't they, East Perth? Their disposal and their forward 50 entries have certainly been a lot more damaging than West Coast.
Mutimer always going back on that left side. McInnes battled hard all night, especially under duress. Good bump there from Rebillard. Puts Orlango down, but East Perth with numbers prevail. McKenzie, long snap, ball can't go out the back. It does just that. McGinnity feeds his teammate, and East Perth have the numbers. Chip in board, it's Magro mark in the forward pocket. In the end, the ball had to stay forward of that contest. East Perth had the numbers, and as you do when you're 40 points up, Tim, you do stream forward thinking you're going to win the majority of contests, and it paid dividends on that occasion.
Latiris Afariondi is watching the live stream from North Carolina in the States.
Oh, that's some distance in that. As Magro wants to get in on the party for his first of the evening. No good.
No, and this is certainly getting incredibly ugly. In this quarter alone, East Perth have added 3 goals to, and the West Coast have not bothered to score.
The ball certainly played the majority of this East Perth half in the final quarter. They've come out this evening, executed their game plan well, have restricted West Coast to play around and play that possession footy like they do at the top level. And they've won the contested footy, and I would think the tackle count so far in the evening. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim.
No, you're definitely right. They've dominated the tackle count, and they've dominated the inside 50s. I'll give you those stats for you in a brief moment.
Good. You've got to be doing something, I would have thought. Archie, look at him burst through the pack. Shuts a couple of... Beautiful work there. Reed, be quiet now. Reed finds Smith running inside 50. A chance to piff through West Coast first of the fourth, and he's put a slide hook on it. Through for a behind. Geez, Archie looked exciting out the back half there. The confidence, look at this, streaming through. Great little handball there from Foley to feed him. Dodges 1, dodges 2.
Fend off.
And the correct option as well. East Perth is definitely off, and they've picked every moment of that little play on there. West Coast, Rebillard puts him to ground with Cameron. I've liked Cameron's defensive pressure in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure he's working on that. That's part of his game he'd be working on to go to the next level. Inside 50s, 36 apiece, which is an interesting one. 36 times for 12 goals for East Perth. 36 times West Coast for just 5.
Cameron puts it in the Waterman direction. Can't take a hold of it. Ball hits the deck. Good pick up there, Foley. Ainsworth back feed. Rotham barrels it inside, forward 50. Anyone's ball. McKenzie attempts the spoil. Hug off the deck. Will it dribble through? Quality goal there from Hug.
Not too sure whether that's his first goal. Would that be close to his first goal in waffle footy? I'm not too sure. But anyway.
Make the call, Tim. Make the call.
Yeah, well, anyway, he would be happy with it, and he poked it through traffic, which was nice work. Here it is here. Good contest. Probably not the greatest of spoils from McKenzie. And, they much needed goal to say the least. 6-9-45 to 12-7, 79. Margin back to 34 points. Kieran Hugg with his first. The tackle count, which I know is, we've been talking about a bit tonight. East Perth's had 54 tackles. West Coast have had just the 38.
34-point margin, 15 minutes played. So you're telling me there's a chance?
No.
Okay.
Kieran Hugg from 2J.
Yeah, nice one. He's been...
He's played in the waffle before, but I'm talking about playing for West Coast, whether it's his first goal. I think it's about his 30th game, I think.
Ball back in the centre. Williams, decisive hit out. Hits Ainsworth on the chest. The snap kick forward. Reed, front position.
Amazing when you win it down the middle.
Good mark. Wants to wheel and go on that left boot. Pack forms. Orlango flies. Can't bring it in. East Perth with the numbers. Arborn runs it out. Cameron provides good defensive pressure. Puts it to the wing. But it's all Kurt Mutimer, and West Coast can reload from the wing. Kick in board. Couple of options to choose from. Ainsworth, one of them. He wants to square it up. Fisher. All the numbers in front of him. Wants to go to the broadcast flank. Heading back with a flight. Hilly provides a good contest, and the tap was critical too.
The whole contest was good.
Puts it in Horton's direction. Handball, little high for Scott, but he makes it work. Back to Hilly. Look at the numbers here. Streaming forward the Royals. Just has to sit for Blee. Does a little semicircle. Finds Young. Can he capitalise? Runs forward. Ah, that's beautiful footy there from the Royals. Great work on the counter-attack.
Brilliant footy. Second goal for the quarter for Young. And let's go back to Shane Hilly. Absolutely brilliant in that contest. The back half, his effort to get back up, not worry about the hard hit that he'd taken, get up, use the footy, and again, they just broke him up through the middle. The transfer of the ball from back to front has been outstanding. Let's take a look at some of the stats for East Perth. Hill's had 18. He's also, of that, he's had 10 handballs as well and kicked a goal. 18 to McGinnity, 20 to Blee, 21 to McKenzie. Kerr's had 23, and Angus Scott's crept up on us. He's also had 24, and Stanley Wright with 2 goals and 16 disposals. Lot to like about the way East Perth are going about their business tonight, and a lot of question marks. I'm sure Luke Webster will be asking his players in regard to some of the form of some of their AFL-listed members.
Well, they'll have 9 days to work it out. The Thursday night game, bit of a anomaly in this waffle fixture. Brady Gray, little LeBron James turn, didn't mind it. Hug, meets the footy, well collected, but Rudrum, wearing him like a glove, puts him down to the ground. Like West Coast show a bit of fight in this remaining 10 minutes here at Leederville Oval. Matty Allen lays a strong tackle. Umpire has no choice but to restart play. Ball up, centre half forward. Blee, hands to Kerr, just spirals it out of his defensive half. Loose ball on the wing, well collected. The handball goes astray. Young has to work. Worried out of it a bit there. Hug, handball to the outer side. West Coast can't get some clean footy out of this clearance. Orlango, that's a big man to be bending down to pick up the footy. Don't worry about that. McInnes right by his side, and the ball out of play.
Hey, we've got to love our people who are watching us.
Still watching.
Yeah, they're still watching. Drew Nealing, good on you, Drew. Hug kicked a goal against Subi in round 3. There you go.
Drew Nealing. We're Nealing coming back if we keep playing some footy. Like we've seen in the last 5 minutes, it's been better from West Coast. Cameron on the left boot, bit of a scrubber. Rudrum, easy pickings. Gee, the kick was an interesting one. Matty Allen, no right foot, has to handball. Finds Waterman, good little give. A chance here for West Coast. Can they find the inboard target? They can. Brady Gray. Diving chest mark, and a chance to make it a 34-point margin. As we see Cameron, beautiful little duck back inside. Had 2 options to pick from. Hug had to concede to seniority.
Good to have him back in. Missed a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, quad injury, unfortunately. So the state bye came at a good time for him. Fresh, ready to go for the round 6 clash. And a tremendous inclusion to this West Coast side. Playing and leadership-wise, the kick is an absolute pitching wedge, gone very high, and it's also hooked to the left-hand side.
Yeah, they've had their chances, there's no doubt about that. But, yeah, you can't win a game kicking 6 goals, let me tell you, right here and now. And East Perth have been very good. They've cashed in on their chances. As I said, basically equal with inside 50 entries, and one's kicked 13 and the other team's kicked 6.
Memorable night for young Wilcox, a debut and a victory under lights at Leederville Oval, it would seem.
He's a good player, Blee, isn't he? He's just been a good servant for this footy club.
Solid, can play a multitude of roles. Archie hangs back, takes an easy mark. Mutimer, no right foot, ducks back inside, shrugs 2 tackles if you don't mind. Matty Allen needs to lower the eyes. Can he find one? Going back, Gray, good spoil there from North. And East Perth escape danger. And Scott lowers the eyes, finds McGinnity.
It's about a 4-metre kick. He's been good, Paddy. He likes it when it gets tough and rough, of course. Great servant for the West Coast Eagles Football Club. And he's still stuck with the Royals, of course. And they're still getting bang for their buck out of him.
Enjoyed the only Brownlow vote was in his 91st AFL game. 4 goals he kicked. 1 Brownlow vote out of his 93 games.
It's a good stat. Where'd you get that?
So someone gave it to me.
As we mentioned earlier, he came into this game, had 10 free kicks for and none against.
Ajang sends it long. Dobson.
Good stat.
Good contest there from Akers. Didn't concede the easy mark. Butters up again, Dobson. Handball hits the deck. Kerr needs to get creative. Got a runner in Cahill. Tries to burst through the tackle. Gives back to Dobson. Tries to will it round the corner, but can't. Minus score for the Royals.
Yeah, it would have been a goal every quarter for Mitch Dobson. His brother played at the footy club too, I'm led to believe. Shaved his head for the occasion.
Yeah, you can see the Liverpool lights just bouncing off the box.
He knew he was going to be on the live stream around the world.
Mutimer advances out of full back. A chance for a bit of a hanger there from Foley. Thought he was going to get a bit of elevation, but he'll take that one.
Akers has limped off the ground. Looks like he's got a quad injury, right quad injury, so his night might be done.
Bit of bad worse from the West Coast Eagles. McInnes flies, happy to concede it out of play. You can tell McInnes going up with just the one arm there.
That's a struggle, isn't it? He's battled away manfully, has the big rig. So unfortunately, he'll be grateful for the extended break before the next clash against Swans.
Throw in, broadcast side.
Better throw in.
Williams front position.
Hasn't been one of their strong suits tonight. Throw-ins.
No, it hasn't, and you can't blame the breeze either, Tim.
No, just need more Wheaties. But they do a good job, let me tell you. The umpires, in particular the boundary umpires, who genuinely cover some serious miles.
The guys you're just getting stuck into, beautiful work.
Yep, oh well.
McKenzie, high spiralling kick to the flank.
Brick bats and bouquet.
Geez, I don't know about keeping that ball in there from Harry Edwards. It's going to work for West Coast on this occasion. Little scrubby kick down the line. What a pick up there from Cameron. Runs out of room, but like those ball handling skills from young Cameron.
I think Fraser's night is done also. He's sitting on the bench. Fraser McInnes, the margin 40 points, and they're working on the Akers quad. Just inside the leg. I don't know if it's a cork, but he certainly was indicating that he was sore.
Getting very intimate there, the physio. I think we should pan away for kids watching at home.
It's after 9 o'clock, isn't it?
McGinnity up late with Waffle. Kick out of play. So West Coast still pressing, not laying down here.
Did you find a car park all right?
Yeah, in bloody Mount Hawthorn. Long walk.
I don't think Leadham was cranking tonight.
Well said, I think there. Josh Smith going for distance down the line. Spore from Semelko. Hardly got one on it. Oh, bump in the back there. Umpire swallowed his whistle. Get a medic out there. Gonna have a ball up. Right forward flank for the Eagles.
I'm reliably informed by my good mate Lockie Reid, my counterpart. He tells me that Mitch Dobson's old man played at South Fremantle on the Rezzies.
I'm loving this. We need more people to do your job for you via social media. Great tap there from Archie. Bounces forward. The kick is an absolute train wreck, and that's gone out on the full.
Ever tried to be an expert when the margin is 40 points?
Oh, it'd be difficult, no doubt. Orlango inboard. Kerr juggles it. And East Perth with the numbers on the outer side.
Thanks, Lob.
Short kick out of the vicinity of right in the end, and I'll throw in. Get to the final stages of this round 6 matchup. West Coast v East Perth.
Don't forget tomorrow night, the big one. The boys going for 3 in a row against Melbourne, who had a training run at Optus tonight.
Bailey Williams, very creative tap. Hug picks it up at ground level. Matty Allen again wanting that left boot. Sends it skyward.
Hold.
Easy numbers there. Cahill takes the simple mark.
Geez, unlucky. I reckon I'm not too sure about that. I thought there might have been a free kick on that replay inside there to Foley. Unlucky.
Cahill, dangerous ball. Needs to be hung on to. Scott provides good support. Lowers the eyes. McKenzie has had it on a string out here on this broadcast side, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, hats off to East Perth. I mean, we can, talk about what's gone wrong for West Coast, but they have been outstanding, East Perth, tonight. This is a team that won 1 game. They came into the game rank outsiders, and they have dominated from the outset. Inside 50s, 41. West Coast have had more inside 50s, 41 inside 50s for 6 goals.
East Perth doing their best to give it up. They have done so. Archie, little dinky pass. Brooksby It's the mark. Just outside 50. This will take his best effort, but he's got a fair-sized leg on him. Don't know if it can kick 50, but it's a big leg.
Yeah, the big Brooker, he's been very good since half-time. He's been one of the pluses tonight.
Conceded a bit of Ruckworth in the second half. Sends a low dart pass. Didn't really want to go for goal in the end. Cahill says, thanks, I'll take every bit of it. Gorda, floater outside the back half. Good gutsy grab there from Rubiliar. Didn't know what was coming. Lowers the eyes. Ainsworth, he definitely won't make the distance from here, but I've enjoyed his game today, Braden Ainsworth.
Yeah, this will be possession 26. In particularly since half-time, he came out, he showed a lot of spirit. He could give it off here.
Or thinking about it, to Rotham in the end, goes long.
What's that?
Bit of a mongrel floating across Archie. Cameron at the foot of the contest, and he puts through what might be the final goal of the evening here at Leederville Oval.
Yeah, not a lot of jubilation and celebration, but that's good for him. Good front and centre stuff. That's exactly what he'd be in the side for, playing that small forward, that Liam Ryan type role. Here it is here. It was an interesting kick, a flower bag punter, so to speak, by Ainsworth. His 25th or 26th possession, and Cameron's snap-on goal was good. He's had, I think that's only about his 10th or 11th touch in the game. Let's take a look at some of the West Coast Eagles stats as we come into some junk time. Ainsworth's had 25, 22 to Archie, Matty Allen 20, Andrew Fisher, one of the add-on players, 20, Brady Gray 19, Mutimer 16, Foley 14, Jake Waterman 13 and 7 marks, Josh Smith 12, didn't touch it in the first quarter, Cameron 11, Rubiliard 11, Brooksby 10. It's taken, according to the official stats, he's taken 4 marks. I swear to God, he's taken about 6. Hugs kicked the goal with his 10. Kalasic has had 10. Reed's had 9. Rotham 9. Xavier O'Neill 7. Riak 7. Bailey Williams 7. Fraser McInnes 5 off injured. And Daniel Akers also injured with 3.
Ainsworth sharks the contest beautifully. High ball. Going to just pierce the Eagles 50. Waterman collects. Tries a handball inboard. Nothing doing there. McGinnity takes over. Finds Blee. And Kerr wants to hold play up on the outer side.
Just to sit on the lead, you reckon?
Yeah, just wants to entertain the crowd here in the final moments of this fourth quarter.
Stanley's been good, hasn't he? Had some real good moments, Stanley, right?
He has. Umpire says play on. No one coming off the mark, so just dinks a little pass to McGinnity.
Angus Scott 28, Rowan Kerr 27, Nathan Blee 25, Mackenzie 23, McGinnity 21, Hill 18, Dobson 17 and Gorta 16 and Wright 16.
The Honey Badger goes short, finds Ajang.
Those boots. They're good boots.
Still, just amazed at the...
You've got to be gutsy to wear that colour, don't you?
Well, you've got to have some bravado, don't you, Gob?
Yeah, are you a pink type of guy?
I don't think so. Just role player, mate. That's all I'll be. Sends it to the wing. It's all West Coast, but no one got anywhere near it in the end. Fisher, I don't think expected that ball. It spills in the tackle. And there's his siren, Tim, to wrap up what is an easy East Perth victory in the end.
13-8-86 to 7-10-52. The final margin, 34 points. Just repeating, 13-8-86. East Perth, their second win of the season. And West Coast 7-10-52. The margin, 34 points. Let's take a look at the goal kickers for the winners. The Royals, 3 to Dobson, first, second and third quarter. Young kicked 2, both in the last quarter. Stanley Wright kicked 2. Singles to McGinnity, Houghton, Blee, Mackenzie, Hill, Jang as well. And for the West Coast Eagles, their goal kickers, all singles, Brooksby, Matty Allen, Waterman, Smith, Hug, O'Neill, who kicked the first goal for the West Coast Eagles. So there it is there. Let's take a look at some of the highlights for Hungry Jacks as we wrap things up here for our live stream. And there's Dobson out the back. Kicked the easy goal. He kicked 3 for the night. And they did a lot of damage early. This was the second quarter action, these highlights, and that was one of the best goals of the night. It didn't actually connect with its sweet Ajang, but the end result was fine. Brooksby took about 3 or 4 really strong marks. This was good work through the middle.
I think it was our player of the night, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no doubt. This was transfers of play. It came from some hard work in the back 50, and it wasn't long after that Blee swooped on this goal and got it in. Brady Gray toiled hard. Good to have him back. This was a really good effort by Wright to work in that confines of that boundary line.
Dobson dangerous all night, wasn't he?
Yeah, he didn't work very hard away. He didn't work anywhere outside the 50, the forward 50. Didn't have to. He was a target. He was impressive. His family would be very proud of him. And here it is here, the last quarter action. And Young got a couple of goals.
He did. He did. He was busy late in the game, Young, but really everyone from East Perth laying a hand here. This was, in fact, his second good handball inside from the Blee. And in the end, East Perth, they were just raining goals in that final term, Tim. No chance for that memorable West Coast comeback that we were so hoping for.
We were hoping for. We've been hoping for a couple of weeks. Thanks to Hungry Jacks for those highlights. 13-8-86 to 7-10-52, 34 points. Angus Scott had 28 disposals. Rowan Kerr had 26. 25 to Blee, 23 to Mackenzie, 20 to McGinnity. Hill had 18. And for the West Coast Eagles, 25 to Ainsworth, 22 to Archie, 20 to Matty Allen and 20 to Fisher. Brady Gray got 19, Kurt Mudaba 16 and Foley 14. And leading mark taken for the West Coast Eagles on the night was Brendan Archie with 7, Jake Waterman with 7 as well. And I thought the upside after half-time was the work of Ainsworth and Keegan Brooksby. That completes our action here from Leederville Oval. Thumper, Steve Bandy, well called. Good job by you on a Thursday night.
Thank you, Tim.
Back to the wheel tomorrow. As we say goodbye from Leederville Oval, we hope you've enjoyed the live stream courtesy of Hungry Jacks, courtesy of the West Coast Eagles, but all honours tonight to East Perth by 34 points. Until we see you again next week at Swan Districts, it's goodbye from the team from the West Coast Eagles.